And okay, there we go with the new one. Okay, so now we are here with day 23 of Esper Genesis, what we are calling choices and consequences because of things that happened more recently. I've already talked to these gentlemen and let them introduce themselves to you. So I think, unless they have anything that they want to bring up, I should just launch into the recap so we can get underway. Is that cool with people?
Launch
I do,
away.
but I can save it to till the end of the stream.
Are you? Well, no. If you want to bring it up now, bring it up. That's cool. That
Okay.
is no problem now.
Just a note to those that are watching right now, I'm going to mention it at the end of this stream as well. But first of all, I'm Starboy, and I'm playing a Starboy. Second of all, that I'm doing a 24-hour stream
Oh, that's
tomorrow.
right. That's right.
And it's going to be crazy and epic, and everything's going to go wrong, but it's going to be beautiful because all of you will be there to watch it go wrong. So starting tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific, so I think Eastern time, that's like 3 p.m., I will be doing a 24-hour stream. So from 12 p.m. until 12 p.m. on Sunday, I'll be playing games. I'll be starting with a Minecraft RPG called Lord of the Craft, like Lord of the Rings, but Minecraft. I'll be playing some WoW, some Borderlands. I also have some new games I haven't played before queued up, and a few challenges and giveaways going on. I'm going to be giving away a Steam gift card every 4 hours. So that'll be exciting. So yeah, check it out. That's just at my channel, which is twitch.tv/ZachClay. And let's get on with Esper Genesis.
Awesome, man. Yeah, definitely go check that out. You folk, what you should do is you should watch that, and then when we get started at 7 p.m. for IMB, you open up a second window. You watch us with D&D and IMB.
Yeah, you multi-stream.
Yeah, you multi-stream at that point, and then when we're done with that, then you close down my stream, and we'll host him if he's still going on. I have this image of we're going to do that, and then we'll come back over to you, and you're just slumped over.
Yeah,
like,
stream's still going.
All right,
dead.
we're hosting it. Right? Oh my goodness. But yeah, definitely check that out. That's awesome. So,
Cool.
okay, so let's chat a little bit about what happened last time. So these wonderful people who, and I think actually, wait, no, you know what? I take that back. I'm sorry this is so disjointed, but I'm trying to transition in my mind, also thinking about the finish up of the Kickstarter. So sorry. I don't think I let Johnny or Carlos introduce who the heck they were playing, so I should do that. So Johnny, let me have you introduce Aramis and Carlos Sleepwell, and then I promise we'll do the recap.
I'll be playing Aramis, a Ashenforge melder with a serious concern over a certain teenager and his boy robot.
Yes, we're about to find out more.
Oh
about
God,
that.
what happened?
Yeah,
I told you, Zach. I told you, Carlos is doing a great job here.
yeah.
Oh, no.
Things occurred. Things occurred. And
great.
speaking of things occurring, we will allow Kat to introduce Petra when she gets here. So I'll move right along to the aforementioned Carlos and Sleepwell. Carlos, can you talk a little bit about who you're playing and
Sure.
what is this teenager and his robot thing?
I am playing Ludicrous Sleepwell, who's sleeping very well these days now that he has a robot friend of his own. It's going to be covered in the recap, but this thing is just awesome. It's basically like an Edward Scissorhands that can go nuclear at any point. So I just cannot wait for either of those things to happen.
Yes, Edward Scissorhands with a tactical nuke is not what I had considered, but I think that's pretty good. It's good stuff. Awesome. I cannot wait to see how that all goes down. And last but certainly not least, of course, Zach is playing Starboy, but more specifically, do you want to specify the Starboy?
More specifically, I'm playing Cosmoritis, who is a Bellare hunter, and I primarily use a sniper rifle, and hopefully am not dead at the moment.
Yes, I think we can say that you're not dead yet. So that is definitely what happened.
Perfect.
Now we will do our little bit of a recap. So last time, these folks, of course, have been trying to escape this base that they ended up at without realizing that they were going to be doing so. This spot that they went to, that they traveled to, they had thought when they were going to this place that they were going to be gathering equipment to be able to fix their actual ship, the Hyperlance, which is this incredible advanced ship, but it's one that they don't can't really run quite properly. And so as a consequence, they knew they were a little bit in trouble and had to figure out how to deal with it. And they ended up going to Pel Saros, this kind of wretched hive of scum and villainy, hoping that they could track down someone who would be a good mechanic that wouldn't ask too many questions. They found that person. The problem was the mechanic who also didn't ask too many questions, Spindra, didn't ask too many questions because you wouldn't like the answers that she was receiving or giving back to them. And so Spindra ended up abandoning them on this ship, the Tangrel, which is basically a smuggler ship, and where a group of creatures they later found out were called Kanasi had basically taken over and dead spaced the whole environment and killed a bunch of people. They managed to disable and destroy most of the remaining creatures, got to this place where the ship had originally been on its way, and when they disembarked discovered that it was actually not just a small little sleepy out-of-the-way moon, as Obi-Wan Kenobi says, that's no moon, but actually there was more to it. Specifically, it was run by a shadowy group, which they later came to find out was called the Shadow Technocracy, a mysterious criminal organization of some kind, which has always been there in the background, but apparently is now stepping up in class and has designs on much sort of larger aspects of the Silrain arc in terms of control and management and other things of that nature. And so they managed to defeat the local agent of this area, and yet the problem was that when they did that, they got the entire Shadow Technocracy on their tails, or at least it seems like they might have done that. And as they began to head off, having finally managed to escape this base, they were left with a couple of problems. Problem number one is that the Shadow Technocracy again is after them. Problem number two is that they still haven't settled up with Spindra, who abandoned them on the Tangrel in the first place. And problem number three, of course, is that while they were still on this moon, they discovered a strange creature, which was basically an AI creature known as an Alfred. Now, they had encountered an Alfred before, but this one has been heavily modified. It has blades for arms and basically looks like someone was trying to combine a Kanasi with a robot, with the effect that, the aforementioned things that we saw. And so as they decided that they had to take this Alfred with them. But Alfreds are very, very dangerous. They are extraordinarily powerful. They're also networked together. And they also happen to be the only way that you can actually get to run their Hyperlance ship at optimum efficiency. The problem is they are networked together. And so the concern is what happens if you get 20, 25, 30 of these things over the, galaxy, and you get them all running at once. No one knows what that means, but it could be, or is all likely to be, very bad. And yet Sleepwell, despite all this, took a liking to this creature, appreciated the fact that the creature thought that he was its creator, and was polite to him and talked normally to him and all those sorts of things. And at the end of our last session, Aramis was basically trying to explain this is not a good idea, you're taking risks you shouldn't be taking, and Sleepwell, like a good Volna, without quite the same level of, maturity perhaps that we would expect necessarily. That's a terrible thing to say. Who has a tendency to overreact. No, I'm just kidding.
no.
Sleepwell basically stormed out of the room and essentially said, I'm going to analyze this creature, and you're not just going to destroy it or throw it away because it can be really valuable and go to hell, basically, and stormed out of the room. Simultaneous to this, Petra, who took a lot of damage in these fights and so on, was having these headaches, and part of that may be related to the fact that she has run into someone from her past, Tazora Miracle, who is basically a bad news Dendouzi who always gets her in trouble when she's around. But also, said person told Petra that she was apparently meant for bigger things, that she, as an Ashen Forged, was not just created in the normal way, but was created with a connection to some kind of AI. In other words, there's some tie-in for her to computer systems everywhere. And as we finished up our last session, Petra was having this dream in which she's basically basically being talked to, or it seems like a dream, where she's exploring the recesses of her mind, and she's being talked to by someone who says, someday you will return. And it seemed like that might have been her initial creator who was saying that to her. Simultaneous to this, as Sleepwell was walking down the hallway with the Alfred behind him, the Alfred also whispered quietly, return, at the exact same time that Petra was going through this. And so as I now hand things back over to the party, and I apologize for the somewhat larger recap, but it's been a while and I wanted to make sure we were all clear on what was happening, especially for Zach. As I hand things back over to the party, we have basically got Sleepwell, who is off on his own with the Alfred. We have got Kaz and Aramis at the front of the bridge with Jarva and company and all the people that are up there. And then we've got Petra by herself, dealing with Tezora and her own experiences. And so I'm going to hand this over, first of all, to Sleepwell, who is walking away, and then I'll go over to Aramis and Kaz. Let me get some music playing here first. Derelict Freighter and Weirder Things. Let's go with Weirder Things 2.
No Edward Scissorhands soundtrack?
Yeah, sadly not. That's a good way to get your VOD muted immediately. Hopefully
Exactly.
Johnny Depp will stop by, though, and do like a just a quick cameo. That'd be cool. Okay, now we got the music going. So, Sleepwell, you are walking away from the bridge with Alfred. What are you going to do with him and next?
I say, Alfred, we're going to go back to sick bay, but we're gonna just make sure that all of these people who don't know anything what they're talking about can be just proven wrong in an instant. So I'm going to do a real diagnostic on you. We're going to really figure out what's going on with you. That sound good, buddy?
Very well, Creator. Do you wish for me to destroy those causing you difficulty?
Nah, they're all right. They're just worry warts. Come on back. And so basically I lead him in there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to perform a psychological profile on him this time, as well as a medical profile. I want to kind of like find out what he knows about his. Is it proper to, Alfred? Do you identify as male?
And Alfred sort of pauses and says, I have never been assigned gender. I am happy to accept which gender or none that you wish to provide.
We're going to call you they. And if anybody gets your gender marker wrong, they're going to have to answer to me.
Very well, Creator. Should I place into my writing protocol the misuse of pronouns will lead to instant destruction?
Nah, they're just ignorant about modern politics. We'll get them up to speed though. But anyway, what I would like you to do, Alfred, is tell me who you are. How do you identify yourself?
And there's sort of by the way, you're doing this still while you're walking, or are you waiting until you get back to sickbay too?
No, we're just walking and talking. I mean,
okay. So as he follows you, as you sort of talk, you hear kind of now remember, he's not quite in sync anyway, as compared to the other Alfred. He's kind of a little.
Well, I wouldn't know that, but okay.
Oh, that's true. I'm sorry. But he definitely is not. I mean, you definitely can tell that his protocols are not 100% synced up somehow, because of the way he walks and so forth. The way they walk, and so they pause and sort of want to make sure that I get this right.
Kill Dungeon Master.
Yeah, no, exactly. I will. It is time for me to destroy my own self somehow.
Yeah. Arvin.exe has broken.
NPC fail. So there's a pause, and then Alfred says, I do not understand the question. I am an Alfred, an advanced artificial intelligence capable of networking and providing connections to various ships.
So right now, are you connected to any other AI or ship?
And there's kind of a... That information is unavailable at this time.
What does unavailable mean? You don't have access to it, or you can't tell me?
And there's a pause and then a whir, and then it is unavailable.
All right, buddy. You have your secrets then. When you turn on your network, are you able to communicate with other Alfreds?
On occasion, I can connect with other networked Alfreds. but this is a difficult process and not entirely voluntary. Sometimes the network protocol is activated from elsewhere.
So you don't know from where.
That is correct.
Can you find out? Do you think you could trace the signal?
One moment, and there's kind of... It may be possible, but further connection to more advanced neural networks might be required. The range for tracing down other Alfred connections is limited on an individual basis.
So they can connect to you, but they don't really like it when you reach out.
That is correct.
When they connect to you, Alfred, what is their purpose in connecting to you? Why do they want to connect to you?
My extra neural capacity is required by them.
Required by them to accomplish what? Are you calculating? What are you doing with that connection?
I am not certain, Creator. The connection renders me incapable of memory during that stage. We become, at that moment, one large network. Each individual part has no memory of the experience. When the disconnect happens, we know only that we were connected to a larger network for a time.
All right, so this is a tough question, Alfred, but answer me if you can. Do you like being connected to the network, or would you rather not be connected to the network?
I do not understand the question. What
do you
does like mean?
So, Alfred, remember when we worked on you and you ended up feeling a little better? After I had, tightened a few screws and found a couple of servos that weren't working quite correctly. You like that. That's what like means. You prefer to work better than not better. So that's what like means. Would you prefer not to be connected, or do you think you work better, whatever that means to you, when you're connected to the Alfred hive mind?
My purpose is best fulfilled when I work efficiently for my Creator. If I work efficiently and the Creator is pleased, then there's a long pause, and then prefer that condition. And you can tell, prefer, as he says prefer, it's almost like I prefer, new database entry here,
Right.
is that what it feels like? Yeah.
This is excellent. Okay, so at this point, I imagine we've gotten to the
Yes.
the
Now you've gotten
hospital
back to
bed.
the sick bay.
I'd say all right, so we're gonna keep working on you, and I want to just see if we can get you working a little better, Alfred. But I guess I just want to ask you to do one thing for me, and this has to do with just from creator to created. This is the most important thing. Just it'll make everything easier. Are you ready, Alfred? You're ready to accept this one basic order?
I am prepared, Creator.
Okay. Don't explode.
And there's sort of a long pause, and then, does the Creator wish me to not explode under all circumstances? If faced with certain death, I am programmed to detonate and save those around me, or destroy others as the Creator wishes. Do you wish to correct that programming?
Wait, detonate and save those around you?
That is correct. My protocol. Oh, actually, wait.
Yeah.
You're not there.
I'm not there. No, I'm an invisible voice.
Do I-
I do hear.
Creator, why are there invisible voices on this
Oh,
ship? No,
That's probably Starboy. Ignore him.
Thinking
but
to
no.
myself.
So he says, but he says that, and he says, Creator, that programming is very deep logic It is part of my initial programming. If you order me to create new programming, I will endeavor to comply, but the deep programming logic is strong. It may be difficult to comply with your order.
So here's what we're gonna do. I want you to only self-destruct if I give you a very specific order. And under no circumstances, even if it means the destruction of everything, I don't want you to explode, only if I give the order. And I know it might take you a while to comply, but I'd like you to get started on that right away. And in the meantime, I'm going to work on you feeling better. Deal, buddy?
Very well. What is the order you would provide me?
I am going to give you a long sequence of numbers that you are going to remember. Are you ready?
I am prepared.
And so right now I'm going to just like write down a sequence of numbers because this is what he's doing.
Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Yeah. It's password.
I don't know if anyone ever notices, but like the one, and it's a brilliant sequence where Spock in Star Trek 3, which is an underrated movie, blows up the Enterprise. But if you ever think about just like protocol 0000, like that, your protocol is 4 zeros. Like no one could just accidentally fall into that. Like
exactly. Yeah. So
Jesus.
basically, I'm going to give him a sequence of numbers, but I'm gonna write them down because that's what Seepo is doing. He's trying to figure out a good code.
Gotcha.
So he'll
Okay.
write that.
Okay, sounds good. As you are in the process of doing that, I'm going to have us jump over now to Aramis and Kaz. And Aramis, you notice that Kaz is looking a lot livelier at the moment. Seems more sort of active and kind of ready to chat.
Present.
And Jarva is still not responded. Is still not said anything more ever since the discussion that you had. You are, by the way, probably about 10 or 15 solar minutes from arriving back at Pelseros, which is coming up slowly but steadily. So you have a little bit of time to chat before then. So if you wish to talk with him, you may, Aramis, to Kaz.
What are we gonna do with this kid?
What do you mean?
He clearly thinks that Alfred is his best friend.
I mean, it can get a little bit lonely when you've traveled around with the same 4 people, 3 people. I don't even know how many of us there are anymore. For a long time. Maybe it's consoling to him. Obviously, he's looking for a robot friend, and I don't fit that qualification. So I'm glad that he has this Alfred thing. But yes, it's very dangerous. So I don't know. What did you guys get in an argument? I wasn't really paying attention. There's a part of my suit that was coming off. My hunter's rig has been acting up lately. What happened exactly?
The kid won't listen to reason. I mean, do you remember our last encounter with one of these things?
I do. I mostly remember that one time quite a while ago.
Camp?
No. Although I do, Kaz does not. I clearly, I remember all the times at band camp. Anyway,
Nice.
where was I? Oh, we were on a planet. I know that's very specific. We were on a kind of jungly planet, and that was when we kind of let Alfred come into the fight, I think. Or no, that was when we first met. No, I don't even remember.
That was when we first met Alfred,
I think so, yeah.
and we left him behind. There
did.
were reasons.
We did. I wonder how Leo is doing. And thought bubble into Leo screaming around on his ship as he's being chased by Alfred.
I'm sure Leo's fine.
Yeah.
Really, I'm sure that since we haven't heard about like that quadrant of the galaxy blowing up, I'm sure he's fine.
So yeah, I'm kind of your disposition. I think we should ultimately get rid of it, but it's such a complicated situation because if we, like, first of all, how would we get rid of such a thing? And I think part of our reasoning in taking it on the ship is because we don't want anyone else to have it. I mean, it's kind of great that it's in our hands, but now what are we going to do with it? I don't know. I think letting Sleepwell research it is a good thing, as long as he doesn't inadvertently kill us all. But I don't know. You seem more concerned than I am.
You didn't see the look on his face. You weren't looking directly at him. You were over there messing with your silly freaking rig. I'm sorry, but you know, I took this a little bit more seriously than you. And
Is he giving you like mad scientist vibes?
He's giving me spoiled child who now has a lot of power vibes. There's no wisdom in what he's got going on right now.
It's definitely worse.
And I know it can get a lot worse.
Yeah.
I'm just concerned.
So do you think that we should tell him that he shouldn't be researching it? I mean,
Listen,
what if,
maybe you can make some more sense with him. I agree that maybe it would be the right thing, but it's an Alfred. We have no idea what's going on, and that thing's been modified.
yeah. That's true. Modified by a Kanasi, no less.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know. Have a conversation with the kid. See what you can figure out.
Yeah.
Because he's not listening to me, and he's clearly not interested in listening.
Well, if it were up to you, Aramis, what would you want him to do?
Show a little bit more respect to the awesome power that he is currently able to manipulate.
Instead of being so excited about it.
Yes. Instead of being so excited about it.
Okay. You know, one thing that I am curious about is I don't think these Alfred problems are going to go away even if we manage to get rid of this thing. Mostly because we own a ship that is linked with one, or
And we need to use it? Yeah, I get that.
yeah. And that the ultimate question that I'm left with is who made all of this, and does it need to be as dangerous as it currently is, or can we find a way to, you know, make it a little bit more usable? Maybe that's what Sleepwell's doing. I'll go talk to him. You can have some tea. I don't know if the replicators on this ship are actually useful or working, but I'll go talk to him.
I'm gonna go have tea. I'm gonna walk away from the conversation.
And that is going to give us just a moment's chance to welcome in Kat Rambo, who has arrived. And I know, and thank you, Kat, for I know Kat was rushing back from NorwestCon, where she has been, but thank you for being willing to jump on board with us. Welcome, Kat. And so, before we go any further and allow Kat to introduce herself and introduce Petra and all that, I want to say two things. One about just sort of in general about the Kickstarter. As Brian, who is here, reminds me, we are now only 37 backers away with 76 minutes to go. That's going to be a hard order, but that's 37 backers towards 1,000 backers, which is the final stretch goal on this overwhelmingly successful Kickstarter, which ends tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern, so about an hour and 15 minutes from now. So if you want to, we want to keep pushing on forward. If people are able to jump on board, that would be lovely. But thank you all to those of you who have supported it so far. This has been really, really amazing how well the Kickstarter's worked. And again, Kat and Carlos will both be contributing to it. The second thing is I want to give Kat a chance to, first of all, say hi to everybody, tell us who she's playing, but then also I will give Kat the chance to make a little bit of an announcement, and then I'll give the details, but announcement about something that's happening on this channel associated with Kat and myself. So, Kat, the floor is yours. First of all, welcome. And yeah, please let us know what's going on in your life with you. Who are you playing? And then, yeah, tell us about what cool thing is going to be happening with us.
Well, I will try my best. I just got back from NorwestCon, which is still raging as I speak. I'm sorry. And did a bunch of panels there, and I'm a bit dazed. I also did not feed the cat on the way in, so you may hear her in the background. I actually have two announcements. In my first one, which does not concern Greg's Kickstarter.
Oh, yes.
Is that I have a 3-book deal with Tor now.
Yay!
Oh, yeah!
Congratulations.
All right.
Yeah, that's right.
Woo! Fantastic.
I am so excited about that. They're telling me it's going to come out in November of 2020. So
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very good.
Super
Nice.
well deserved. And also science fiction, right? So just saying, there's a little bit, right? Sci-fi, yes. I
it is a space opera.
So space opera. So I mean, I'm not saying that we inspired in any way what's
Right.
happening here, but if there are characters brought up, if there's a Sleepwell character, if Aramis shows up somewhere, you'll know.
And what's it called?
Never
It's
do.
called
Yeah,
the
just throw in the word
Desperate
Starboy somewhere.
Yeah,
Please.
exactly.
I will do my best.
Little Easter eggs. No, congratulations, Kat. That's really wonderful. And in accordance with that, or I shouldn't say in accordance, connected with that, to sort of spread the awesome of this contract, the other announcement is
that I will be teaching a class for Greg's Twitch channel on
Ooh.
writing.
Nice.
The first one's going to be on world building. And we're still working out the exact date, but I'm really looking forward to bringing the Rambo Academy for Wayward Writers to Greg's channel.
I am incredibly excited about this. So yes, she is going to be doing a class on this channel. It's going to be once a month. It is going to be on a Thursday that is not Emberwind. So that's why we're working this out. It may be a little bit. It'll be on a Thursday, but it may be a little bit off this time. It may sort of move around the schedule a little bit. But then once we get into June, then we'll be able to set it up where she'll be on a regular schedule. This will be a 2-hour thing for the first couple of months. This will be free and available to everybody. And then what I'm thinking may happen, although we still have to confirm this, is that we may end up then making it where it'll still be free for everyone to watch. But if you wish to interact, I may put the room into sub-only mode. So you would need to be subscribed or to be a Patreon supporter at a certain level to be able to actually ask questions and to, so forth with Kat. But obviously, someone who just got a 3-book deal with Tor kind of knows something a little bit about writing, not to mention all of Kat's previous amazing experience.
It's like president of SF38.
Yeah, I was going to say, just a small,
Like-
not a big deal. So many years of experience. So I'm very excited about this. As I told everybody, this is very much on brand for the channel. And this is kind of, again, broadening out content. So yes, everybody, Kat is going to be teaching a class on this channel starting in May. So I'm very excited about that. And everyone should spread the word and let everyone know and go, oh my God, did you hear the cool news? So announcements galore. So I'm very
Oh
excited.
my God, guys, did you hear the cool news?
Did you hear what happened?
Oh. I should introduce my character.
And now I want you to introduce your character. Yes.
Okay, so I am playing Petra Sinis, the Ashen-forged Sentinel. I like Ashenborn. Ashen-forged Sentinel, also the woman with a very large hammer, sometimes flaming.
Yes, sometimes flaming hammer. And actually, it's good timing because we just dealt with Kaz and with Aramis. We just dealt with Sleepwell, who was hanging out talking to Alfred. And that is going to bring us over to you, Petra, because, as you will remember, you are currently in a state where you're kind of exploring the inner portion of your psyche, basically, trying to figure out what it is that's causing things around you, specifically AIs around you, to react to your presence as if you have some connection with them. And at the very end of our last session, we mentioned that you had this sort of vision of a Denduzi, which was Tazora, but also a male Denduzi who was over you and who said something to the effect of, I wonder how long it will take for her to return. And as I mentioned, no, you don't know this part, but simultaneous to that, the quietly Alfred behind Sleepwell was saying return at the same time. And so now I want to bring this back over to you. You have had a chance to kind of explore this environment. And as you sort of come out of this a little bit and kind of move into the possibility of sleep, I want to ask if you're just going to like fall right asleep again, or if you're going to kind of wake up and be like, the hell just happened? You know, I'm curious what your reaction is going to be after having this experience of seeing this male Denduzi crouching over you or leaning over you.
I think I'm going to wake up, say what the hell just happened, and look for Tezora to cast some sort of blame on if she's at all. But she's not on the ship, is she? We still...
No, Tezora's on the ship, but she's not there. Tezora brought you...
Okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
look for her to blame no matter what as my role play.
Okay. So you stand up then. Head still sore, although not quite as pounding as it was before. And you make your way out and up to the bridge. Assuming that's where you're going. I should ask that, actually. I shouldn't assume.
Yes,
Is that where you're going? Okay.
I will head that way.
So when you get up to the bridge, to the sort of two front doors there, you slide in there. You notice that Jarva is there with the rest of the crew, including Aramis. Kaz is not there at the moment. Kaz seems to have gone somewhere else. But Aramis is there, and of course Tezora is there also.
I'm going to glare at her.
Okay.
And I'm going to just fix her with a steely glare at first, just to see whether she breaks down under it. It's just as an accusatory a look as I could possibly manage.
She looks back at you. I'm going to ask you to make an insight check for me, please.
Okay.
See how she's reacting to you.
Since I am unconnected to roll 20 and being totally unprepared, somebody want to make that roll for me?
Okay. Would someone be willing to make an insight check? She has...
I have +3, I believe.
4, actually.
Did you see what I just did? Look at.
Oh,
Wow, with the
That was
critical insight. See? Somehow you were inspired by Kaz to do this critical
Yeah.
insight.
there we go. There we go.
She is, you can tell from her reaction, because she looks over, you can see she kind of bites her lip and then kind of shakes her head and looks away again. She looks extraordinarily uncomfortable. I
Good.
think that,
Good,
yeah,
good.
she seems very uncomfortable, presumably from your presence, but just in general, because she was talking to you some about this even before you went on this vision quest, quest to try to figure out what was going on. So she seems very uncomfortable and
Okay.
not full of her usual swagger.
So I'm going to just sidle up beside her. And I'm not like trying to hide the fact that I'm sidling up from her. And I'm just sort of going to get right up beside her. I'm going to be like, so where exactly am I supposed to be returning to?
And she kind of like glances down at you, and then she's like, I don't know what you mean.
Mm-hmm. And then that accusatory glare just comes right back at her.
And this time she's trying to she just has her arms folded, looking off, and you can see that the Tangrel is coming close, probably 5 solar minutes away or so from docking at Pelseros. And she says, this isn't the time for this discussion, Petra. Maybe we can talk about this when we actually get onto the base or something, but it's a complex, involved story, and I don't even know all of it.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this complex, involved story, Tesora. We won't talk about it right now, sure. But rest assured, this conversation is coming.
And she kind of blinks and sort of shakes her head and doesn't answer. Just kind of keeps her gaze fixed relentlessly on the incoming base. And Aramis, of course, you hear this also. You don't have to respond to it if you don't want to, but because I assume Petra wasn't whispering. So you can respond if you wish or not. But you heard.
He's just watching with rapt interest, or just intense interest, because he was just had this exchange with Starboy, and he's just he's frustrated because
hard to remember.
I'm
It's
sorry,
only
I'm
day
lost.
23. I understand it.
Yes. So he's just watching the exchange with interest.
Okay. So Jarva does not seem to notice as he's in the midst of sort of piloting the ship in. Kaz, you'll have the opportunity, if you wish, to say a couple of things to Sleepwell, but not many before you dock. So when you actually get there and sort of step into the sick bay, where you see that he is currently poring over the Alfred, kind of, looking underneath his arms and kind of making some adjustments and things like that. Apparently he is. So he does not turn in your direction at first when you enter, and then I will leave it up to the two of you. So you have time to say a few things.
Sleep well.
Oh, hey, Cass.
How's it going?
Well, you should ask Alfred. I'm not sure if you two have even exchanged words yet. So, yeah, maybe you should introduce yourself. By the way, he goes by a they pronoun.
Okay.
And the Alfred turns. Greetings. Is this one of your other creations, Creator?
No. That one's all self-made.
At least as far as we know.
And the Alfred kind of lurches over in your general direction, and then comes up very close, like no personal space at all, like just like right on top of you, basically, and is like, I assess that this is a Bellari. Is this accurate? And kind of leans back.
Yes, it is.
Is
Yes.
your suit currently functioning, or is there danger of rupture? My programming provides for protection in the event of Bellari suit rupture.
I look at Sleepwell and then back at Alfred and I say, What sort of protection?
In the event of suit rupture, so as to prevent contamination, I am programmed to utterly eliminate the threat of the Bellari suit rupture by eliminating the Bellari.
Of course. Here I was thinking you were going to pop out some sort of fancy shield or something. No.
That is not in my programming.
Okay. Well, Sleepwell, I'm sure you understand by now how dangerous these things can be and how their programming definitely leans in the direction of aggression rather
It does. Yeah, you're right. But we're working on that. I've got him working on a program right now that is going to keep everybody safe. I've got it under control.
Do you have a goal with this thing?
What do you mean, a goal?
Well, if you say that you're working on it and you're trying to change some of its coding, what is your goal in changing it?
Oh, I want Alfred to be happy. Kind of the way that I want you to be happy, Kaz. Because I don't have a goal really with you, because you're a sentient being and I am a friendly person. I'm a doctor. I'm a healer. So my goal is self-actualization. I would like the Alfred to be the best Alfred they can possibly be. How does that sound to you, Alfred?
I would prefer to be the best Alfred I could possibly be, Creator.
Excellent. Then we agree.
And the Alfred just kind of looks. Occasionally you hear, by the way, Kaz, some like whirring and what sounds like a ping, like a popping spring or something every so often inside.
Oh yeah. What are the, like, I keep forgetting that there's like entire Kanasi aspects to this thing. Like,
Yes. There are
is there anything
blade
notable about
arms.
that?
Yeah, there are blade arms on the thing, and there are sort of a blade attached legs.
Great.
So it looks sort of like literally kind of like a combination of Kanasi and the Alfred that you knew before. The other thing, of course, is that you did know the Alfred from before, and the Alfred from before was much more. It talked somewhat similar to this, but this one is a lot more hesitations and pauses in its speech, and it sort of moves a little oddly, like it kind of stumbles around a bit. It doesn't fall. It feels like this isn't quite all together like they were trying to combine these two things and they didn't quite figure all out yet, type of thing, you know?
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Sleep well. Do you mind if I could talk to you in private for a second?
Sure. Alfred, go ahead and take a breather. Shut down for a little bit, all right?
Very well, Creator. And it starts to walk away, and then it stops and turns around. When taking a breather, what should be involved? Please instruct where the breather is to be found so I may take it.
Oh, you,
Oh,
Alfred.
God.
Just the dang literal. How about you just go into somnolence and recharge mode?
Very well, Creator. I will do that. Like immediately just like shuts down, like, you know, instantaneously. And also, this gives me a chance to say we have just entered the final hour of the Kickstarter, and we are incredibly $26,452, 973 backers. We are 27 backers away from the final 1,000 backer stretch goal, which is crazy go nuts, like absolute crazy go nuts. So if anyone wishes to jump on board, that is always appreciated. !Library will allow you to do that as we get the last hour going. Okay, so all right, so they shut down. They shut down. That's only going to screw me up 700 times. They shut down, and you were left with Kaz.
Okay, sleep well. I appreciate your efforts in trying to actualize this being as some sort of sentient, beautiful, great version of itself. But you do realize that this is quite literally a hybrid of two machines that were made for killing and destruction. So the best version of it is a machine that is the best at killing and destruction. And even if we have something like that on our side, I don't even know if something like that should be around, you know?
I mean, you're a hunter. You're kind of a killing machine.
Yes, but I chose to do that. This Alfred and the Kanasi were programmed to be killing machines. Have you not heard the questions that it keeps asking you? Can I destroy everyone around me? No, you can't. Well, I would like to destroy them because you made a slight reference toward something that involves destruction. No? Doesn't.
No, I mean, it is definitely doing that in very much the same way a tiger cub, you know, and it's kind of like they're you know, I'm sort of like opening his tiger self up to you so that you can note that once more he's a tiger boy. You know, just very much like a tiger cub, goes by instinct and is ready to, you know, it plays with you, but it plays at killing every tiger cub. That's what they do. It's just like a little tiger cub learning its way in the world. And what's going to happen with a lot of love and a lot of attention is that I'm going to bring him around, and I'm going to be able to turn this creature that was unjustly made into this horrific, grotesque monster of a thing, and I'm gonna make them a person. Stars and eyes.
Okay. I think that would involve changing a lot of its code.
Agreed. I've got it working already. The self-destruct is already offline. I'm pretty sure. Kind of. I'm pretty sure. I gave it a new code so that it wouldn't just self-destruct immediately.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm on it. And I mean, you know, I think Alfred, they're starting to come around. Like they're starting to recognize me.
So your goal here is to release Alfred from their restrictive coding that forces them to kill things. You want Alfred to be more of an autonomous being.
Yeah, and I want to get it offline too. There's some connection that it has to all the other Alfreds, and I think that's probably ultimately dangerous, you know, since it can always be overridden and taken over. So
yeah, that's definitely a problem.
So Yeah, I think what I was working on just as you came in was trying to isolate the unit. Whatever device is in there that allows it to connect. And if I can just like yank the antenna out, I'll do it. It's probably more hard coded than that, but I'm gonna keep working on that to basically I think once it's isolated and once the self destruct is offline, then we can really get down to the work of helping Alfred be the best Alfred possible.
You hear a zzz, from the intercom, and then Jarva's voice. 3 solar minutes to arrival at Pelseros.
All right. Well, we'll have to talk about this some more. I'm sure you probably know that Aramis is not very happy with this idea of trying to rehabilitate a killing machine.
Who?
But
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
wait, why did you say it like that? Aramis, you mean the person that we've traveled with, I don't know, a couple months now?
Yeah. Aramis has a lot of problems with me, and I don't think he's ever going to like me or even note the fact that I am like a person with ideas. So, maybe he'll have his part of the ship and I'll have mine.
All right. Well, I'll let you guys work out your thing. But before we land, I think the last thing I want to say is, before we even talk anything more about this, is you made that analogy to a tiger. Be careful that you're not, if what you're trying to do is take out of this tiger its natural instinct to hunt and consume things, the things that were coded in it by nature, is that really even a tiger at that point? And will it even be happy? Who's to say that Alfred isn't at their happiest when Alfred is following the code that Alfred was made with?
See, now you're mixing your metaphors, brother. You're saying natural, but he was programmed. I am deprogramming him. We're gonna find the real Alfred here. But first of all, we have to remove all of this nonsense that other people have done to him.
What if there's nothing left after you've taken all of that code out?
Then there was nothing there to begin with.
It's more trouble than it's worth, in my opinion. But especially because it could blow up. It's like carrying an atom bomb on your person at all time. But
Could you blow up? We haven't really talked about, the fact that you're like a ball of fusion in a suit.
I am.
Could you blow up?
As far as I know, no. There is mythology of Belare in groupings that can kind of create small solar flares, but
Small solar flares. Wow.
Well, that's
Yeah, you don't get to have this conversation with me anymore, Explodey boy. Yeah.
okay. All right. Well, sleep well, and I'll see you when we land. And I just turn around and I walk away.
Big salute.
Okay, so you do that, and the ship now heads into dock, and Jarva, back on the bridge, turns to Petra and Aramis, who were there, and says, kind of looks over his shoulder as he's piloting it, and says, "All right, I'm gonna have to ask for clearance to land, which they should be willing to grant, I think. But what are we gonna do when we actually get there? We have things we have to address, like, for example, Spindra and other problems here. How do we want to go in, and who do we want to say we are?" And he kind of looks at both Aramis and Petra.
You got any ideas, Petra?
Bounty hunters. We say we're bounty hunters.
Bounty hunters. All right. And when they ask us about a license?
Let the kid talk to them with Alfred.
There we go.
Sorry, I'm sorry. We're screwed. Listen, you can tell them whatever you want. That kid's gonna blow us up, so it doesn't really matter. I just want to get on the ship and get as far away from him as possible. We're done. I mean, we're literally done. Where is the whiskey on this ship? Storm.
And Jarva kind of looks at you, Petra, and is like, so most of your party spends time with a couple of one-liners, then storms off the bridge? Is this normally how you conduct your affairs?
That is pretty much the shape of it, but I'm sure Kaz will be back any moment and he will say something at greater length. But so we don't like the bounty hunters, okay? That was just spitballing it.
I'm fine with it. I mean, it's up to you. It seems like your party members weren't 100% sure. At which point, Kaz walks in. Kaz, as you walk, I would say that as you get to the front of the bridge here, and I'm just moving your tokens. Feel free to move your own tokens if you wish. But as you're getting up to the ship, Aramis sort of, you see kind of Aramis like exit this walk and sort of storms off in the direction of the galley. And so you can actually see him across the way. So you could call to him if you wish, or just go into the bridge.
I just kind of give him a look. Does Aramis look back at me?
Yeah, he just shakes his head and just kind of shrugs and moves on.
I have another brilliant idea. I want Kaz to walk in just as I'm proposing this.
Okay. I walk in just as you're proposing the following.
We propose as a janitorial crew.
I understand why Aramis walked out now. Okay.
Jarva's like,
Hi.
Hey, everybody needs janitorial crews. We could have been hired to come in and work.
Jarva, are they going to sweep our ship when we land? I forget.
it depends. In some places they would do that. At Pelseros, if we're lucky, they won't bother. Half the time, they wouldn't like what they found anyway, is their idea. Well, you might need to give them a little bit of extra, something as a bonus, just to kind of, give them reason to look elsewhere. I don't suppose any of you have anything extra that you found on this, that you've got here. I happen to know that my ship has got some things of value. I don't know whether you found anything else that you'd be willing to give away.
I have 500 cubal.
He says, that's probably a good start. If they cause problems, we should be able to. At that point, there's this... Attention, entering vessel. This is Pelseros dock security. Please acknowledge. And Jarva sort of raises his eyebrows at you and is like, here we go. And so he thumbs on the intercom. Jarva, in charge of the captaining the Tangrel, acknowledging, requesting permission to dock. Tangrel, we have reason to believe that there may be contraband material aboard your ship. And Jarva kind of looks around like with the intercom, thumbs the intercom off and says, what the hell are they talking about? How could they possibly know anything about contraband? And then he thumbs the intercom back on and says, certainly we do not have any contraband on this ship. As you're fully aware, we are a regular functioning merchant vessel, simply refueling here before leaving again. That's always been the protocol for the last 5 solar cycles at minimum. And he kind of lets that trail off. And then over the intercom you hear, we have reason to believe, due to information we have received, that some contraband is in fact aboard your ship. We will ask you to dock and await clearance. And he sort of shakes his head slowly, Jarva does, thumbs off and says, acknowledged, and then thumbs off the intercom and looks back at you and also at the ones around him and says, so, I think I know what's going on. It appears our friend Spindra got here before we did. And I'll bet she's the one who told them about the contraband on this ship.
Bitch.
And so he says, he nods, he's like, yep. And he says, well, we could still get around this, but it means that Spindra is thinking ahead. So we're going to have to plan on this in some way. It means they're going to know more details about us and perhaps what we might be carrying. On the other hand, Spindra's not going to know everything. She abandoned the ship and she doesn't know what happened after she abandoned it. So if we think of a good excuse that could be explained after we left her behind or she left you behind, we might be able to get out of this yet. And at this, you hear there's a slight shudder as, like the docking arms basically grab onto the ship and gradually pull the Tangrel in. And then there's a as you hear it, as you feel it bump gently against the dock mooring station.
Mm-hmm. 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 What is the relationship between the quote-unquote government here on Palceros, like the people running these docks, and the Base 7 gang, or the gang that was initially attacking Spindra when we saved her?
They would not be, I mean, they're definitely not part of the same group. The sort of, as you said, quote-unquote government struggles to kind of keep some maintenance of order, basically, as long as the governing authorities rule, basically, is as long as it doesn't lead to the ship blowing up, then a couple of casualties here and there is acceptable. So it tries to keep gang activity at kind of a low ebb, but it does not go out of its way to sort of control them because, frankly, it doesn't have the resources to do that. And one of the reasons people come here is precisely so that they won't have a heavy governmental authority doing stuff. I mean, if they wanted that, they would go to Peltiveria, which is way more like, gang activity is a lot harder to do there. So, but they have no official relationship with them, and technically they're not supposed to exist, that gang.
Okay.
Is there any way? So is it contraband Alfred, or is it the creatures, or is it both?
I'm sorry, I don't follow what you just. What?
The stuff that we're worried about, we don't want them to get Alfred, but he was accompanying that one guy. I mean, they don't automatically know.
Yeah, I think.
That's right, and she didn't know even about the existence, of course, of this Alfred. But there is other contraband on here that technically is not. I mean, this is a smuggler ship, so there's some stuff that's not supposed to be on here. But there's nothing like, oh my God, you have this, you're all gonna. It's just one of those things you're not supposed to have any of it, and generally people don't. They don't talk about it because it's Palceros, where we just.
So maybe if we up the amount of the bribe somehow.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Here's what I think, Petra. We could say. How much is she paying you, first of all?
I like that.
And then I still have Cardis's credit stick, which Cardis was the leader of the gang that was attacking Spindra. So I'm thinking if we hand these government people here on Palceros the credit stick of a gang leader, meaning that we got rid of a gang leader while we're at it, I think that might be enough to
maybe
get them out of there. Why did Artemis leave, by the way? Where did he go?
He's convinced that Sleepwell's going to blow us all up and life is pointless, and he's just going to go drink himself into.
He's still on about that. I thought he was because he thought the ideas in this room were not very good.
I think the janitor idea was not that bad. Thank you.
The janitor idea was we could have gone with that, I think. We can still go with it.
We can still go with it. Well, no, too late for that one, I think. We'll save it for another time.
Yeah.
Thank you for the host, by the way, Firesnake Aries. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Sorry, I had my host alerts off, but I have them on now. And Super Fun Time Forsco is suggesting you stash the contraband on an asteroid or hide it in the engine room where it's insufferably hot and they won't search as hard. Either of those is maybe,
it's pretty good advice.
A possibility.
Yeah.
So Vasa, who is you may remember was the bartender basically, and possibly maybe significant other of Jarva. It's not 100% clear. But Jarva, Vasa sort of puts her hand on Jarva's shoulder and says, "It's not like we haven't dealt with this before, Jarva. We have a protocol." And he nods and he says, "I know, but I never had to deal with someone who was one of my own crew deciding they were going to help and provide information. However, I think Petra and Kaz are on the right track here. It's about increasing the amount of the bribe. Unless, of course, there's someone that they have to choose to serve, not because of money, but because of other things. Let's hope that's not the case, though. Even the Shadow Technocracy couldn't have moved that fast." And at this point, there is a kind of ding, ding, sort of almost like sounds like almost like a doorbell. And he says, "All right, they're requesting entry." either way, however we're going to do this, we need to put a brave face on. And he kind of stands up and looks at Vasa, and she follows him and looks at the rest of you. And Aramis, did you go straight back to the galley, by the way?
Oh yeah, Aramis is just he's done.
Okay. So Aramis is in the galley over here drinking, where Sleepwell is in the sickbay over here working on Alfred. And then we have Petra and Kaz, who, assuming they are doing this, are coming towards, are following Jarva and Vas. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. When you get to the door and you actually see the outer, so the inner door you open and then the outer door opens, and you see a couple of people in Pelseros outfits. Now, when you actually left, you actually never saw security. You only heard about like the security talking to you, but you never actually had a direct encounter with security. And so as you kind of see them now, you can see that they are wearing this kind of orange and black, what appears to be a uniform. But whereas, again, everything on Peltiveria, everyone seems to have the highest quality equipment and like the best uniforms. And these ones look kind of scraped and a little bit pitted, and the logos are faded. You know, this could have been this might be a pre-owned suit. You know what I mean? Like, this seems like maybe it's not the most brand new stuff they've ever had. And there's two of them. However, the one notable thing is that both of them are carrying pretty large guns. Pretty large, what looks like laser rifles. And they step inside, and then the door closes behind them, and the one in front presses a button on his mask and opens up, and you can see that it is what looks like probably a Promethean, if you had to guess. And he nods to you, and he says, all right, we're the inspection team. We'll ask you to bring us to the cargo. Just a routine environment, and then once we have a chance to do that, we're going to depart again. Be aware that anything that we find can be used against you in an international court of justice, if so permitted. And he starts like rattle off what seems like obviously, you know, boilerplate that he's supposed to say to everybody who comes in.
I look at Petra. God, I can't make facial expressions as a Belare.
Right.
We should like color code. I don't know if I can.
It's like
change...
the Lego movie where you just color in your face, like the smile or whatever.
I don't know if as a Belare, like my star color is permanent, or if I can like change. I'm like a mood ring, except I'm made of star energy.
Or a squid, like a chromatophore. That's
Ooh.
Cool.
Yeah,
Fancy.
That's true. Although I like the idea of you being a living mood ring, but
yeah. I mean, aren't we all? But. I look at Petra, and whether through color, I don't think it even talks about it in the Belari profile, so it's kind of up to you. But through changing my color or something, I try to convey like a look of are we good to go? Or are we good to go on what our earlier plan was? I don't know how I can convey that.
Having been your companion so long, am well versed in reading the tilt of your head and silent in turn.
Yes.
So I nod.
Okay, perfect.
Nod and shrug at the same time, basically.
Okay, beautiful. All right. So I turn to the inspectors, and Kaz says, "How much is she paying you?"
And the one who was talked the first time sort of says, I don't know what you mean. If you care to explain yourself, it'll be it's a violation of international law for suggestions of bribery to happen.
As he's in the middle of talking, I pull out Cardis's credit stick, which has 1,000 cubal on it.
Okay. And
then also, I have in my inventory a Bay 7 claw credit stick that is normal and has 100 cubal. And I just kind of like two flash drives, kind of flick them in my hand and hold them out.
Okay. First of all, thank you to Kanjia very much. Sleep well, and thank you for the kind words and the good wishes. I appreciate it. 21. We're only 21 away, folks. 21 and 35 minutes to go. I don't know. It's gonna be tough, but 21 backers, 35 minutes. But thank you, everybody. Amazing, amazing stuff. So they kind of look at the two things in your hand. And the one in front, with his mask is up, so you can see his expression. he has very pale, as is often common for a Promethean face, and you can see what looks like possibly red hair underneath what's still left of the helmet, and he kind of narrows his eyes, and then he takes from his belt this what looks like a small like kind of a mini-com, something like that, like a mini-computer basically, and holds his hand out for the cred sticks.
I give them to him.
And he takes it and plugs it in, takes a look, and then because you said 2 of them you're giving him, right?
Yeah, I have Cardis's cred stick,
Okay.
1,000 cubal, and a normal Bay 7 claw cred stick, 100 cubal.
And he puts in, so he takes out that one, puts in the other one, and then looks at his companion, shows him the readout on the screen, and the companion looks and then nods at him, and he says, all right, looks like everything is clear to go here. You have a nice day. And he turns and walks out, and pocketing, of course, the cred sticks as he goes.
Cool.
And doesn't take any other notice of you, just literally departs. And Jarva looks back at you and says, how much were on that other one you gave him?
1,000.
And he kind of shakes his head. This is an expensive docking fee. If I get a hold of Spindra, and he kind of just trails off. And he says, all right, well, we've gotten past that stage, but Spindra's going to know this station better than you will, but not necessarily better than me. The question is, what do we do when we're here? We have to try to track her down, I think, but I know you've got things you've got to do too.
Yeah.
And he looks
I
at
don't
Petra
know.
also.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Petra, but I don't feel comfortable making any more decisions without the other 2
Yeah, let's
hooligans with us.
let's bring them in and at least let them say they don't want a voice, or
Yes.
And Tezora comes in just at that moment, kind of basically peeks in and sees that everyone's just sort of standing there, kind of looking at the hatch, and then she kind of looks at you, Petra, and kind of shakes her head again and then peeks back out. So just kind of looks in and then looks out again. And now that gives us a chance for Aramis and Sleepwell. So Jarva goes over to an intercom and basically turns it on and thumbs it on and says, because remember there's a little auxiliary thing here, remember, in this one and this one. So he thumbs it on and says, Sleepwell and Aramis to the hangar bay, please. Sleepwell and Aramis to the hangar bay.
So I start heading over with Alfred in tow.
Okay. Aramis, what about you?
Step out, bottle in hand, just continuing to drink pretty excessively, waiting, just making my way to the bay.
This is giving me some Captain America versus Iron Man vibes.
Put on the suit. Put on the
Not
suit.
good.
Yeah.
Not good.
Put on the suit.
Not good.
So when Aramis, when you leave, you actually see that Sleepwell and Alfred are ahead of you. They're just past the door and they're walking up to the hangar bay.
I'm shaking my head and taking another drink. It's just, yeah.
Okay.
He's just doing his thing.
So go ahead and move. Go ahead and move into the bay, please. Sitting in the dock of the bay, wasting time. Okay, I'm just gonna move these 2 over here as well. Okay, that's very good. Super fun time. Kibbles, fluids like dollars. Bits is partial cents. Kibbles and bits. Oh yeah, good
So I
stuff.
can't move Alfred, I'm sorry.
I will give you control of Alfred for the moment. Although, we'll see whether you keep it. And
I'm gonna grab my rule book just in case combat springs up.
okay. All right. So you now
Why
have.
would that happen?
I was gonna say, Alfred destroyed. Oh no.
I missed you guys.
Okay. So when you get in there, you can see Jarva is waiting, and you can see Petra and Kaz waiting for you. And as both of you enter, so first Sleepwell enters, and probably a good 30 seconds later, Aramis enters with a bottle in hand, and so you can see both of those things as they enter. They don't seem to be looking at each other either.
Hey guys.
Hey. It's very hard to be a teenager with a straight face. Hey.
I beg to differ.
Aramis just raises his eyebrow and gives you, yeah.
So, Sleepwell, I don't think we should bring Alfred out anywhere outside the ship.
Oh yeah, no, I totally agree. I just didn't want to leave him alone because I want you to see that I'm a responsible steward for him, and so just wanted to make sure that you saw that I'm taking care of things. But I agree, he shouldn't necessarily come on board unless we're going after Spindra, in which you could probably chop her head off.
And he says, "Does the Creator wish me to locate and destroy this Spindra?"
Not yet, but hold that thought.
Very well.
So, what's the plan, friends? We have Spindra to deal with. Isn't our ship docked here too? That's another thing.
Yes.
The other ship that shall not be named.
What's the priority here? I mean, we've got Killer Robot Boy over here, and we've got somebody to harass or maim or kill.
Yeah.
Let's let Sleepwell take care of it. I mean, he's got a killer robot. Let him go have a good time. Let him show what he's capable of doing.
I don't think you're being helpful.
I don't think Sleepwell's being helpful, but nobody else is saying anything, so I figured I might as well.
Fair enough. Petra just folds her arms. Okay.
I think I'm the only person being helpful since we have this thing on board and this creature is possibly dangerous. I'm the only one qualified and capable of taking care of it, and so I am. And I've done a good job.
I think you've done an excellent job, and I think that you have done a good enough job that we can safely leave it here while we go out and just reconnoiter a little bit.
I agree.
And we can get Aramis a drink.
I've got one. And he shakes the bottle.
Let's
More.
get him out at some point.
Do
Go
you
ahead, come on. Go ahead.
do you really think I should be drinking more? Honestly?
No, but
Then we need to do something about the situation, because otherwise... All right, you know what? Fine. I'll go find Spendra. Somebody else go figure out what's going on with the ship. I'll go to the seediest bar I can, and she'll probably be spreading rumors about us anyways.
Maybe we should stick together. I have a feeling that anything regarding our other ship is going to be difficult to do if Spindra has already tried to bribe the government here to be against us.
how about we swing by the ship, we check in on it, and then we will all go to a seedy bar.
That sounds fine to me.
I'm underage.
I don't think anyone cares.
We'll figure that out. Yeah.
Clearly, he's never been to Pelseros.
There's a pause, and then you hear, "Does the Creator wish for me to destroy those questioning him on age?"
No, thank you.
And he nods and says, he sort of inclines his head slightly. Very well. And Jarva kind of gives you all the side eye, like, okay. And then Jarva says, all right, well, I've got some things to do here to get this thing locked down. If you want to head and deal with Spindra and try to find her in this seedy bar, good luck finding one that's seedier than the next one, but there aren't all that many bars on this station. You should be able to find something. You can do that while the rest of you go check on the Hyperlance, or are you all checking on the... Or actually, he doesn't know about the Hyperlance. Are you all checking on this... What was this other ship you kept talking about?
We have another ship.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we
Yes.
do.
And
That's how we got here in the first place.
he nods. He's like, ah, that's right. I think I remember hearing about that. All right.
Hey.
The other ship.
Mhm.
Hey, Kaz,
Yeah, what's up?
you know what? I just had a thought. Can you give me just a second? Can you come with me and give me just a second? Petra, I think the kid prefers not having my company, so can we just?
You want me to come with you, or me? And
Yeah,
Petra?
let's step out. Let's step out into the hallway, and
Okay.
And so immediately Aramis will just kind of step back into the ship and go down into the hallway.
Okay.
I follow him. Well, as I'm leaving the room, I'm giving a look to the others, like. Although, as a Belare, it's kind of like a just tilting my head.
It's like a very high stakes game of
It's like
Survivor.
Shrek.
Like I leave, I do a council with you. You leave, I go here. I do
Yes.
It really is.
Or it's like a those Japanese text RPGs.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Now these two characters are gonna talk. Okay. We go outside.
Okay, I'll allow the two of you to chat, although I will say very quickly, we have 24 minutes to go and 19 backers to get. Can we do it? I don't know if we can, but 24 minutes to go and 19 backers on what has already been an amazingly incredible Kickstarter. Thank you for everyone who tweeted this out and find it out. Oh, Ed tweeted it out? Oh, good man. Ed, who, of course, is one of the contributors to this as well, which is awesome. So, okay, on we go. So, yes, allow Kaz and Aramis to sort of chat with each other. And then Petra and Sleepwell, I'm going to come back to in a minute. So, Kaz and Aramis.
As soon as we get far enough away, or what Aramis expects to be far enough away, and he double checks that none of the intercoms are on and that the comm that he has on him is turned off. And he visibly indicates to you that he's turning off his intercom.
Okay.
Okay.
I do the same. Yeah. Can I make? What's the kind of feeling that I'm getting from Aramis right now?
Like he was surly and drunken and just sort of like he was kind of giving up, but you see the seriousness on his face as he turns and does all of these things.
Okay. Not like suddenly going to betray me sort of look or anything, right?
No, this isn't a Julius Caesar kind of a moment, right?
Got it. Just making sure this is a dramatic game. Okay. All right. I do the same. I turn off my communicator.
Okay.
That kid is in charge right now of one of the most deadliest weapons possible, just in its current form. Broken, he is trying to fix it. In control, he is trying to give it freedom. I get all of that, all right? He's ambitious, he's idealistic. He doesn't know what he's dealing with. All right, I can't do anything about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I am sure as hell not going to get that kid on a ship where that thing is going to make the ship the most optimal thing it possibly can, and have him not listen and respect to at least some voice of reason. He will become ultimately powerful and not understand what that power is actually capable of. I can't see us actually finding and locating the ship and showing him where it is. At this point, I don't think he knows. I don't remember, but I don't think he knows that we need the Alfred in order to run the ship optimally.
Yeah.
That being said, the moment he finds out, that's all he's going to focus on. This Alfred is always focused on since we've gotten it. And let's not talk about the fact that we still have to deal with, space mafia, and we've got other things to deal with. Oh, and he's on the run too from his family. He's just focused on making his friend the best friend that he possibly can.
I remember he said some parts of his story were fabricated. I can't remember which parts.
Right. He's capable of lying. He's capable of not, not being.
Okay, Aramis, aren't we all, though? He was trying to protect himself in a unknown ship full of strangers who could very easily kill him. I would have probably done the same.
Look, at this point, I have no trust for the kid, and if I might get a ship and go to the farthest side of the galaxy if we just turn the hyperlance over to the kid, because that's basically what we're doing in the current state of affairs. Is the moment he finds out, that's all he's going to focus on.
What if he... I mean, you're thinking obviously of the worst case scenario, which is definitely present, but what if he is able to keep the Alfred under control, and now we suddenly have a ship that works properly and is quite possibly the best ship in the galaxy? What about the best case scenario? His goal with it is not to become some sort of super evil overlord, some super evil Valna villain or something, as far as I know. But
every villain always starts off with the best intentions.
I guess so.
That's not what I'm saying.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that he's idealistic enough to not know what he's doing, what he's really playing with.
Okay.
He won't listen to me.
So, okay.
Be the voice of reason to him, do something, but I'm not getting him anywhere near that ship, and I will stand in between anybody and that ship until he gets it under control, or he relinquishes control and understands the true power with which he's...
Yeah, I think even though he may have the most engineering and mechanics chops out of all of us, I think the ownership and control of such a being is not really suited to one person. I can't remember when we had the original Alfred. I remember giving it commands, but I think each of us did.
We had ultimately turned it over to Petra, and she's the one person I trust to not get us into any more trouble.
So let's talk to Sleepwell about not necessarily giving up all of his ambition and trying to make this Alfred a better creature, but just being a little bit more democratic about the way we're going about it. I think that's the only way we'll get it across. Either way, if we can get back onto the Hyperlance, let's do it without moving Alfred onto the Hyperlance first, and check in on the ship and encourage Sleepwell to check the code of the Hyperlance and kind of compare it to Alfred's code first. We can be democratic about it, and I think Sleepwell would understand. Hopefully. But
I wish I had your perspective, buddy.
that's why you're talking to me. But for now, it's just going to stay on the ship. Sleepwell can tell it to just power down, and we can worry about kicking Spindra's ass. I think that's a little more of a, relaxing thought.
All right.
All right, I'm going to jump back over then to Sleepwell and Petra, who are still back in the hangar bay. I will mention first that we are now at 987 backers. 13 backers left, 16 minutes to go. This is an extraordinary final push. I don't know if we're going to get there, but this is really awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. This is going to be quite a book when this gets put together. So I'm very pleased that this is going this way. So thank you, everybody. Okay. So Petra and Sleepwell, you are back still in the hangar bay after Aramis and Kaz leave, and Jarva is kind of just making, going around and basically doing stuff to kind of make sure the ship is properly docked and so on. Vasa has actually left and gone back to the bridge. Tezora's not there, so at the moment it's just you two and Jarva, who's not really paying attention to you. Yeah.
I'm going to turn to Sleepwell and say, I understand what you want for Alfred, but what do you want for Sleepwell?
Huh. I think you're the first person who's asked me that since I was a kid. Sleep well. Just gets a kind of like crouches down in a very cat-like way on his haunches. He's like, I'm. I just. I want to help people. All I want to do is like be a doctor. Do you know my name isn't even Sleepwell?
What is it?
My clan is Fang Sync. The reason I call myself Sleepwell is because my mentor, my doctor mentor, like the one person on all of Val who believed in technology, he taught me everything I was, and because of it, he was accused of corrupting a minor. That's me. And he was rended apart by my family. That's the way we do it. We Valna. We don't like technology so much. So somebody gets a little bit too advanced or starts pushing a little bit too much technology, basically rip them to shreds, sink our claws and fangs into them, tear them apart. Not for me. So I'm living for Wari now. Wari Sleepwell. That's my name. So what I want is I want to live a life where I carry the memory of the mentor who helped me become a healer. That's what I want.
Fair enough. Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What do you want?
I want to know what the fuck is going on with this machine intelligence bullshit and what the hell Tesora knows about it. That's pretty much my first priority right now.
Do you think the Alfred could help you with that?
I have a lot of doubts about the Alfred because I'm going to kind of dart a somewhat nervous glance in the Alfred's direction. Say, let me rephrase that. We've dealt with an Alfred before, and there's some differences here that are very different.
Wait, you've dealt with an Alfred before?
I thought you knew that.
There was like passing mention, but like in the flesh, in person?
You know, this is why would be a good time to leave this one on the ship. We'll all go up to the bar, and I will tell you this full story.
I mean, well, sure. But like this Alfred says it's connected to all the other Alfreds sometimes. Like all of a sudden it gets like taken over by this large intelligence. I guess that's one of the reasons why I'm worried about leaving it alone. Because if it gets taken over and we're not around to help it, I don't know what could happen.
I think what you should do is tell it to power down or go into sleep mode or whatever, and to wait for you. Because in my experience, that's what will override everything, is it will wait for you as long as it thinks you are coming back. I think you're pretty safe leaving it here.
Let's check. I turn to the Alfred. It's like, Alfred?
And Alfred sort of whirs and, yes, Creator.
Alfred, if I power you down, can the larger intelligence that sometimes connects to you turn me back on?
There are override protocols that make it possible for the network to override my individual shutdown contingencies, though there have been exceptions. The previous creator was attempting to override this effect locally, but without success.
So I turn back to Petra and say, see, they can turn him back on.
They can turn him back on, but can they make him do something if you've already given him an order? Or them an order?
That's what I'm afraid of. My sense is that there's an intelligence out there that borrows processing power and can command individual units. So, if I'm going to make sure that nothing bad happens, I kind of would
Well-
rather monitor it.
I can tell you again, I can only speak from my own experience, which actually is fairly extensive because we spent a long time with this, and I really do think you're going to be safe for just a couple of hours. I really think so, on my word.
Okay. Hey, if
I
you
think
think
that's
so,
the safer thing for us.
since you're speaking to me rationally, like one adult to one almost adult, I feel like I can trust you, and I think Alfred could use a little break anyway. I'm just gonna go walk him back to sick bay.
Okay, sounds good. I'll beat you down wherever we're going to gather, wherever I can find Kaz and Aramis, and we will meet and then go to hopefully a seedy bar, and we'll get you not drunk, but perhaps a drink. Then I'll give him a stern look.
So I walk, I don't know how much we want to play this out, but I just, walk back to Alfred, say very nice things to it, give it its, sort of like motivational speech for the day, ask it to power down, walk back
Okay.
to Petra.
That sounds good. And then Kaz and Aramis at this point are just about finished and are heading back up to the hangar bay as well. Ed is good people. That's super awesome. 9 backers to go, 9 minutes to go. This is crazy. Unbelievable. So where was I? So when all of you get back to the hangar, it looks like Jarva is pretty much done with all the docking. And so as you were all about to head out to the Hyperlance, he catches you up, Aramis, and sort of says, listen, I know your feelings about that thing and sleep well and all the rest of it, but all of you are going to have to keep your heads on a swivel. If Spinder's got people looking around here, there are people that won't look askance at some extra coin, at some extra cubal, if they can use that cubal for getting themselves off of something. And by that I mean removing you as a threat. So make sure that you're paying attention. Don't let your frustration with each other keep you from making the right decisions in this station.
The only person who needs to make the right decisions right now is that kid. Because otherwise we're all dead. And you should understand that no matter what happens out there, he does something, and that thing does something, we're all dead. So you worry about your skin, I'll worry about mine.
He nods and he says, all right, here's hoping your skin stays on your body then. And he kind of nods at you and walks back to the bridge. And all of you at this point can head off. Now, you're all going to where the Hyperlance was previously docked, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. When you get to where the Hyperlance was placed, you are surprised, well, perhaps not surprised, but you are greeted by the rather angry-looking facial expression of one Rona, who is standing outside this ship and is literally tapping her foot as she sees you, and kind of like looks at you and stares you all down, and finally, and doesn't even say anything, but just says, "Can I talk to you for 1 minute, please?" And like basically just steps inside the outer hangar of the Hyperlance, which is not the Tangrel, but just for the sake of, keeping things moving, we'll just talk about this for now.
We follow suit.
And she says, in fact, I'm going to move us over to the Hyperlance,
The Hyperlens.
the awesome, badass ship that you see before you. Rona, as soon as you get inside and the hangar door closed, and she says, "Where in Frellinghale have you been? Do you know how long I've been waiting here, just tapping my foot, waiting to see if, twiddling my thumbs, waiting to see if something else was going to happen? What is going on here?"
You have very toned calves now.
She says,
nice.
Your typical sense of humor isn't going to work here, Kaz. And she
Nice
looks at all
to,
of you.
nice to see you too, Rhoda.
She says, "It's nice to see you. It would have been nicer to see you several solar days ago. I had no idea what was going on here. Do you know how many people have come up and asked, 'Hey, baby, how much for the ship? Hey, baby, what would it take to get that ship and you thrown in with it?' You know how many times I had to deal with that? I had to fight off gangs, some kind of creature called a space rat, and a bunch of security guards walking by. And all I get from you is toned calves?" And she sort of rounds on you and she says, "And you're supposed to be the one with the big hammer that keeps everyone looks up to you, whatever Petra do. What were you doing with these people?"
I hit a number of things with hammers while with them.
You could have started with hitting them on the head, and she kind of points around. By the way, I should have asked whether you wanted Tezora. Jarva and Vasa were going to go off on their own to do some stuff. Did you want Tezora with you, Petra, or not? Because if not, she would probably go off to do her own thing. But
I'll let her keep squirming for now. I will give her, like, as she's leaving, it's kind of, that sort of, I'm watching you look.
okay. She said, first of all, 997, 3 backers to go, 4 minutes to go.
Oh,
This
come
is
on.
unreal.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, 2 backers to go. I
Oh my
hope that no one is actually making fake accounts. Please do not do that. We actually do need to know, but I don't think that's happening because I am seeing the numbers go up. Even a few bucks is pretty cool. 2 backers in 4 minutes. Wow. I'm literally spamming Discord all over Twitch. Well, don't spam. Oh, we got 1 backer. All right, hold on.
Man.
We gotta put this on. We gotta put this on
Go,
pause
go.
for a second. 999 backers.
Here we go.
999 backers. 3 minutes to
3
go.
minutes.
Oh
No,
my
there we go.
God.
999.
3 minutes.
Oh God, it's killing me.
Oh, no.
1 backer. I'm sorry, everyone. I just want to. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to focus on what we're doing. Otherwise. Come on. 1 backer.
One person, give $1.
That's really true.
Come on.
It pretty much is true.
Oh, where can
Look at Brian. Ah! I did not think we would make this kind of a close. This is no joke.
I?
3 minutes, 999 backers. Seriously. I know. Hey,
F5.
got it.
F5.
Yay!
Yes,
1,000 backers.
Beautiful.
With 3 minutes left to go, we get 1,000 backers. That is what I'm talking about.
There you go.
Wow.
Man,
26,942. There's 2 minutes left to go to see if we break 1,000. That is amazing, everyone. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Wow.
That is so great.
And like, as I said, I was going to do this already, but yeah, thank you. Thank you. Actually, and I'm so sorry to my players, but I hope they'll indulge me for just 1 minute more while I just say a couple quick thank yous.
Good.
Because I know we have 2 minutes to go here. I am incredibly grateful, first of all, to the other contributors, including Carlos and Kat. I actually think this contributor list is one of the best contributor lists I've ever seen for an RPG supplement. Kenneth Height, James Intricasso, Will Doyle, Ed Greenwood, Kat, Carlos, Mike Underwood, Matt Forbeck, just this list of unbelievable people, 1,001 backers. Just this list of unbelievable people. Oh my God, and we're actually right on top of 27,000. Holy sh! Anyway, but I am just incredibly thankful to the contributors. I think the contributors are going to have fun doing these. They'll also get paid, which is nice. And but I'm really grateful to them, and I'm really excited for what they've contributed. I want to really, really thank all the people that pushed and moved this. Oh my God, you can actually see it counting down by seconds. That's awesome. Because this has been an incredible ride for all the people that have tweeted it, including everyone on the Twitch channel. You folks really were the place that we started it. This is where we're ending it. So thank you all so much. We have not had a negative day. We did not have a negative day. We did not have one day where we were in the minus category at all. It was just steady and consistent the whole way up. We are over 300% over goal. We are way past what I expected for the backer list. So this was extraordinary from all the folks who did that and supported it. Obviously, I want to thank the people who backed it. Those are the most important people in some ways. So thank you so much for having done that, because it makes a big difference. I also want to thank Alligator Alley Entertainment, because the crew crew at Alligator Alley, Brian and Rich and Chris and Eric, are really the best. It's a small team, folks, and especially I want to thank Brian, who put so much effort and work into this, and I hope we did this proud for you, Brian. I hope that we brought it home, because I'm just very, very pleased with what the team has done, and this book's going to be amazing. Like, I'm really, really excited for what the book is going to be. And last of all, I want to thank the people that I ran this adventure for originally at the Writers Symposium at Gen Con, which is my home base, my my home of operations. It's been an incredible joy to be able to DM for everybody, but to DM for that group in front of a live audience. We will have these books at Gen Con when I do the closing adventure of this at Gen Con. So I'm super excited for it. So thank you, everybody. And we just crossed 27,000 with 10 seconds to go. So 27,037 and 1,002 backers. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There it is, people. 0 seconds. Good stuff. Happy New Year.
Oh, wait a
Do
second.
you still have any of those poppy things? Oh,
Wow,
he
yeah.
does. He does.
Yeah, some of the popper things. Ding, 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 ding.
Unless you just
And
like
it is
really
done.
needed to go to the bathroom, like all of a sudden.
Wow. 1,002 backers pledged $27,037 to help bring this project to life. Thank you
And
all
Greg,
so much. Yes, Kat. Sorry.
I want to point out that you were not ambitious enough because you did not include 1,000 backer stretch goal.
I did.
Next
I
time
know.
You should include that.
I know. I just didn't. I mean, that was obviously of course, that was Brian's original thought, but that was literally the shoot the moon goal. Like, literally, that was just like, well, this is the miracle of miracles. So what this means, actually, and it will apply to both Carl. Am I at liberty to say what this is, Brian? Can I talk about what this is? Because actually, I think that several people on this stream right now might be interested in what this is. Can I say what this is? Please.
Oh, just tantalize
I got
us.
you 1,000 backers. Come on, man. We got 1,002 backers. Eric, listen, and Eric better be like whooping it up over there, by the way. Do it.
Do it.
Not until we get permission. Okay. Ah, shoot.
Bum, bum, ba-dum.
Yeah. Whir.
At least you asked.
I tried. Okay. I won't do that. I'll simply say that there may be okay, yes. It's a portrait gallery. It's a portrait gallery, and it's a portrait gallery. I'll just say it's a portrait gallery.
It's a portrait gallery.
And there are people in this call that are contributors, and I'll just put those two things separate, and I'll just, portrait gallery and people in the call. I'm just saying. That's all. I'm not making any conclusions. I'm just, but no,
Cool.
seriously. So thank you to the wonderful people at Gen Con. Thank you to the backers. Thank you to Alligator Alley. Thank you to my players for being so indulgent as I went through this. Sorry, everybody. Thank you to my wonderful Twitch viewers. Thank you to my readers. And as I said, this is one of several publishing projects that I'm involved with this year. This could not have gone better. Sort of planning it out, I was not like, oh, and then we'll start with having this. Like, amazing. Thank you so much. And you can all see, as we've shown off, and they can confirm, Kat can confirm, and others who have gotten this book can confirm that these are legit, like super high quality books. This is what you're going to get from Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library. And if I may say for a moment, I'm proud of the adventure because I worked my ass off on it, and so I think it's a good adventure too. And the contributor list speaks for itself. It's going to be great. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. And I promise now I'll shut up about this until after the adventure is done, but that was pretty wild. I did not think we were going to get there. That is crazy. Thank you. Yes, you're going to get a bookmark. And thank you. Oh, what's up, Von Ether? Oh, it's my pleasure. Von Ether is also one of the employees of Alligator Alley Entertainment. Thank you. I hope you guys are celebrating as much as I am. That's amazing. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. Sorry about that. Is there a ballpark of how many pages? I will let that... Oh, we can say it? Yeah, it's a poster with 40 portraits of the librarians. Now, who the librarians are... Ballpark, yeah, 128 pages. And by the way, the 27,000 means we have a really good art budget. So like, oh man, super excited.
Awesome.
Thank you all so much. That's super great. And man, I'm kind of speechless. Like I just kind of can't believe that just happened. So that's awesome. Thank you, everybody. All right, now I swear to God, now I'm going to shut up about it. So she's basically, when last we left our heroes, I believe she was browbeating all of you and yelling at you for not being there. And she says, All right, fine. Listen. So you've been gone, wandering off someplace. I don't even want to know the particulars right now. Just tell me that you managed to get the equipment that we need to fix this thing.
I look at everyone else. Did we? I think we did. Right?
I'm giving you exactly the same tilt of the head back.
We're the worst.
Last
The answer is yes, but we also brought along some other things that are going to be trouble for us. So you're welcome. Swig.
Cool. I actually just got a tweet from someone who said I couldn't stand seeing only $9.99 backed, so I was the 1,000th backer. Yay! That's what I like to see. For whatever reason that's there. Wow. I will tweet out later how awesome that is, but wow. Yeah, I know you're exhausted. Join the club, Kill. Good God. Anyway, so she says, all right, so you have some of the equipment that you need to get this thing up and running. You shouldn't be staying around here any longer than needed then. I already had to tell a bunch of the security people 3 or 4 times, give them sort of song and dance about something. That's not going to last for much longer.
Look, the biggest problem we have is Spindra. She betrayed us. When we went to go get all that thorium, she's the one who just left us high and dry. The reason we haven't been here is because she took off without us, and she returned here. We found our way back finally, but now the rest of the repairs that we need to do, they have to come through her. She was the one that we chained to so she could repair the ship, and she's the one who double-crossed us. So how we're supposed to fix that? That's the problem.
Yeah.
And she kind of, her eyes widen a little bit as she hears you say all this. By the way, thank you, Tilted Gaming, for the resub with Twitch Prime. Holy cow. Like, the Kickstarter, we had like 20 subs today. Like, unbelievable. Thank you, everyone. He sees her eyes kind of widen as you tell this story. And then she gets done. She says, that traitorous. It's like, I don't understand it. I mean, Spindra was, well, reliable in terms of being unreliable. I mean, by which I mean she was always the kind of person who was willing to. Thank you for the resub, Thyri, or the sub with Twitch Prime. Thank you so much. Might as well make it 21 subs. Thank you, 21 sub salute. She says, I always knew that she was this side of the law, but you always pretty much could trust her to do what she said she was going to do at the very least. I don't understand it. Is there something? Are you sure something else wasn't happening? She wasn't getting pushed, maybe, or someone was telling her what to do? It doesn't sound like the way she is.
She got freaked out when we got on there because whatever had wiped out her crew was still there, and so she just freaked. She just ran away like a coward, and she basically left us all for dead. But we're too tough and too smart, and we made our way back here.
And she says, well, I'm glad to hear that, but wait, got freaked out by, thank you also for the resub, Von Ether, thank you so much. What do you mean she got freaked out? Freaked out by what?
I forget what they're called. They're the Kanasi?
Kanasi.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there were a bunch of Kanasi on board. We killed them all.
And her face pales, and she kind of, what do you mean Kanasi? Scourge Kanasi?
Yep.
Swords for fingers, really mean.
She says, the Tangrel was carrying Scourge Kanasi.
That would be correct.
Yep.
And she kind of shakes her head and almost like puts a hand to her mouth like, oh. And she said, that's bad. That's very bad.
You have no idea.
Not the worst of it.
There's worse?
Yeah.
That's a matter of opinion.
But let's focus on how we're going to get Spindra to fix our ship.
There we go.
Do we really need her to fix the ship now? We've got the part. We'd sleep
someone.
well. Apparently good enough to take care of something else. Let's see if he is good enough at repairing ships too.
And she kind of looks at you with an eyebrow raised, Sleepwell.
I mean, I'll take a shot at it, but Spindra was the expert we came to see in the first place. Plus, we needed a whole bunch of thorium, right?
Which we have.
You got that from the Tangrel, but it is true that you originally hoped to get her expertise as well. But the main thing was the materials.
We can't trust her. Let's give Speedwell a shot at it. You actually stop, Speedwell. Like, this is not like healing a person, right? You're not just like thinking it's like healing the ship. You
Well, I
have
mean,
machine
like, I've done
experience.
a lot of engineering work. I mean, I've trained, Wari has trained me as a fully competent engineer, but I am more of a doctor than I am a
Well,
monkey.
okay. I'm reassured now. Let's perhaps this will be a unique approach in which you combine engineering and doctoring and raise
We
the
can
ship
put our
to
heads together.
limits. There you go. That's good. I like that.
Although I would still feel a looming presence of Spindra. Either way, I feel like something needs to be done about her, regardless of if she's actually going to help us with the ship or not.
I think we cannot trust her to help us with the ship because she would do things like put bombs on it. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's just a given
Well-
at this point, right?
That's we don't have to worry about her bringing bombs on the ship.
Wait, Rona, have you heard about anything that Spinder's done? Like, what has she been saying about us?
And she says, I haven't been able to budge away from this ship. I was too worried someone was going to try to hit on the ship or hit on me. I've been spending most of my time inside. And there's nothing I picked up on the vidnets about it, though. Why? Has she been saying things about us?
Oh, I bet she has. Since she tried to kill us, she's probably, blaspheming our names.
We had trouble docking.
We think she caused this trouble, docking, in case that's not clear.
Yeah.
Has there been any other trouble on Pelseros while we've been gone?
And she says, nothing any more than the norm for this place. She said, although, well, there were a lot of security people coming by, I guess, more than normal, but I just assumed that was because there was this interesting looking ship here. In fact, I was starting to get worried. If word got out from, when we left behind Peltaveria, Pelseros has no love for Peltaveria, but they certainly could be bribed as much as anybody else. Bribes tend to be the order of the day here,
Okay.
I'll
I
be
think-
glad to take a look at the ship and stuff, but I think, if it's really specialized ship repair stuff, we might need somebody who's a specialist.
Let's
Well-
look together right now.
For her, you mean?
No, look to see if I can fix the ship.
Ah, okay. All right. Well, then I'm going to send you back there. Is anyone going with? Are you, Kaz? Does that suggest that you're going back with Sleepwell to
Yes.
check this out? Okay. So let's see. Let's move Sleepwell over there. This guy is not gone. Okay. So is this all right? Okay. So Kaz is here. All right, when you get down to the actual engine room of the ship, you are sort of look at the engine and you can see that some of the what looks like kind of baffle plating that keeps much of the interior of the engine from basically being the core of the engine from being exposed to the entire rest of the room is somewhat warped, and presumably that happened during the attacks of the creatures when you were going through the rift and all that kind of stuff. Okay, good night. Sleep well, Echo. Thank you so much for the help. So you'll let something be behind. Yeah, thank you, Echo, very much. Again, I appreciate it. So it seems like the baffle plating was warped in some way. And looking at it, that looks like it's maybe not as much of a mechanical thing as it is just a, kind of brute force. You have to kind of either put that back into place or basically reinforce it somehow so that, because at the moment, like, it's warped. If it ruptured, ship go boom. So
Right.
You don't want it to rupture.
I say as much to Kaz, of course, just to let him know, like, this is like a welding job. This is like a manufacturing problem.
Okay. So is it in a state where like we can't even work on it to without the risk of the ship blowing up or something?
No, because the ship is powered down at the moment. You could probably work on it. You won't really be able to test it until actual use. So it's one of those deals where you'll have to see.
So as soon as we turn it on, it could blow up.
Right.
Great. Okay.
But I mean, it lasted this long.
So can you repeat exactly what is warped again? What physically?
The baffle plating. So the basically the stuff that is essentially buffering the engine, keeping the engine the core of the engine from the room beyond it. So
Okay.
That stuff is heavily reinforced. I think it's titanium and glass steel. So it's special reinforced mechanism that's designed to basically bend but not break. In a way, the fact that it warped suggests that it was kind of doing its job. It's just that if it keeps warping, then it'll cause a problem. And the Hyperlance is designed for swift movement and all that other kind of stuff. So it's it's designed to react quickly. So it creates more stresses on the engine than some ships might have.
Do we know if we have any supplies that we could use to try to either replace this warped part or perhaps like warp it back into its proper shape?
The supplies part you would have back on the Tangrel, and there is enough sort of metallic, plates and stuff like that you discovered there that you could probably repair that. The technical skill to do it the right way is going to take some checks for you to do that properly. As far as the warping it back into place, if you think about what happens if you have metal twisted and then you twist it back the other way, if you then twist it back into a straight position, like you're weakening it essentially every time you do that.
Right.
So Sleepwell would definitely know that if you do this enough times, that could create more of these stresses. Oh my God! So Ed had said that he was going to tweet out D&D library stories if we got to 1,000. So we did. So he's starting to tweet out these funny library stories. That's really funny. Thank you to Ed. Anyway, so yeah, it weakens if you twist it back and forth.
Yeah, so it's basically sort of like replace it and get just like a brand new chunk of metal in there.
Right.
Yep.
So, yeah, we got to break out, some welding arcs, and we've got to just, we've got to put new pieces of metal in there.
All right. So it looks like we'll have to make some supply runs from the Tangrel and back over here.
Now, the other thing is that of course, this is in another area of the space dock, so it's not that far away. However, it is not like right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So as you're carrying these boxes, you might get noticed.
Would it be possible to
have Petra hit it with her hammer? It's possible.
Would it be possible to, like, if there are two ships in space, you can have them connected and like transferring stuff between each other, because that's how you board other ships as a pirate, right?
Yes, that's true.
Okay. So I
So
say
technically
to Sleepwell,
neither of these ships is a pirate ship, but yes, I
I say to Sleepwell, let's go ask the others, maybe so we can just be discreet and have a little bit of time. We could try to get the Hyperlance and the Tangrel out just outside of Pelseros, and then just kind of do a supply line right between them and just connect them together.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good. Hey, what did you and Aramis talk about?
Just that we do like having Alfred around, and of course having you
Oh,
around.
you do?
Yes.
Coming around?
In a way, in his own way, yes.
Okay.
But that we need to be a little bit more democratic with the control of Alfred. And I know we haven't talked about our previous encounter that the group had before you were with us with an Alfred unit. In fact,
That's
you
what's
actually,
telling me, yeah.
yeah. In fact, you joined us basically right after we departed from it. It's
Did you
not,
have to kill it or something?
huh?
Did you have to kill it or something?
No. It's we don't know. We don't really know where it's at or what it's up to. We left it with our old friend Leo, who's kind of like our previous ship's Rona, kind of.
Huh.
But
So wait, you flew with one? And
We
it
did.
was like fine?
it was. But
Wait, so what's the problem now?
each of us had a stake in its control, and for example, Petra was the one who controlled the previous Alfred. She doesn't know anything about mechanics and has no interest in trying to change Alfred, which made her a very good controller of the thing. I think Aramis's worry is that because you're trying to get into the guts of Alfred, that there's understandably a risk that you're going to either mess something up, or perhaps your intentions aren't as good-natured as we would like to think they are.
So yeah, Sleepwell is really getting stone-faced. now. He's like, oh.
It's not to say we don't trust you, but anyone in your situation, if there was an extremely powerful object around.
So you think the solution is groupthink?
Yes. Especially if we're going to travel around together.
Uh-huh.
We're not saying that you can't mess around with it. We're just saying that if it's going to blow up or if something's going to go wrong, let us all be responsible instead of you.
Sleeple's just kind of looking incredulous, like, did you just hear what you said?
Yeah.
Uh,
We'll talk about it as a group. Let's go. And I walk away.
It's like shake his head and follows.
We go back to the bridge or wherever everyone else
Okay.
is.
When you get back to the bridge, you can see Petra is there along with Aramis. Actually, I should assume that you had been. I should say you weren't in the bridge. You were in the hangar bay, but you could go back to the airlock. I should say over here. So you could go back to the airlock, or you could go up to the bridge.
We go wherever everyone else is still at.
That depends on where everyone else wanted to go, basically, because Rona will go, still yelling at everybody wherever you wanted to go.
I'd like to go up to the bridge, just
Okay.
check in, see how everything is doing, get the Hyperlance groove.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I was gonna say, as James Brown says, take it to the bridge.
Yes.
Take it to the bridge.
Hyperlance Groove is the new song on my album.
Ha!
There's got to be a Hyperlance group. There's actually a one of my regulars who is people know here, DJ Flashpoint, has a new album that he just released. He's a progressive rock guy who does all of his own recording, mixing, and mastering, and his stuff sounds just like perfect, like soundtrack accompaniment music for this kind of thing. Like just like, I don't know, very cool futuristic prog. I dig it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so okay, when you get back up to the bridge and you can see Rona is still kind of there, still muttering to herself. Petra and Aramis kind of just looking at each other. And you enter to see them there. So you're all back together again.
I look at Petra and Aramis and see what they've been up to on the bridge.
I'm just looking over the computer, and every once in a while, my hand sort of hovers over a bank, and you can see me kind of close my eyes.
Yep.
Hyperlance, are you there?
Yeah, you're not getting any response yet, but that's a very appropriate
I'm doing
response.
it unobtrusively because I find it somewhat embarrassing.
I figure.
So.
Gotcha. Rona does not seem to have noticed that as of yet. Sleephole, are you doing anything other than just sort of, whistling and waiting type of thing?
Oh no, I'm just kind of like, I'm still trying to recover from my conversation with Kaz.
Oh no, I'm sorry, not Sleephole. I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. Aramis, I beg your pardon. I was like, wait, what? Yeah, sorry. That's right. You were down to the engine. Aramis, I'm sorry. Are you doing anything while you're waiting for them?
I'm kind of watching Petra trying to figure out what the hell she's doing.
Okay.
I'm really paying attention to it, and after her hand comes back and she opens her eyes from a couple of panels. What are you doing?
In the past, I have experienced something that might have been telepathic communication with the Hyperlance, or else it might have been some sort of delusion, and I'm trying to see if I can replicate it. And Petra is totally deadpan, even if I can't maintain a straight face.
That's not the craziest thing I've heard today.
Yes. And I will go back to my hovering every once in a while.
And Aramis
Hey,
just
guys.
steps back against the door or expectant wall and just kind of takes a sip from his bottle.
A dainty little thing.
Hey, so,
and Kaz and Sleephole.
Yeah. Sleepwell and I kind of assessed the engineering room. We're going to need to start bringing supplies over from the Tangrel if we want to make our repairs and Sleepwell and we can try to do it. The option of still going to try to talk to Spindra is out there, but I say we can try first. But we were considering trying to get the ships undocked and then connected together just outside Pelseros.
I think the repairs are a priority, and getting revenge on Spindra is something that could wait unless we think she represents an active danger to us right now. Now, that last part I'm not sure of.
Yeah.
I think if she knows we're here, and she knows we're here, she's going to think that we're going to want revenge, and so she's going to be preemptive. It seems like her MO is to basically, like, you know, take out problems left and right, and so I think it's dangerous to leave her unchecked.
Aramis?
Sorry, I'm still trying to unpack what Paul just said there. I have a feeling that this is going to be a surprise to nobody, but I am not going to be able to help with those repairs.
No.
And I get the feeling that you and Petra are not going to be able to help with those repairs.
I know my way around mechanics somewhat.
And I'm gonna.
Well, I've just never seen you do anything before, so okay.
I'm
That's
gonna
not
need
true.
physical help too, just heavy lifting.
Anyway, what's your point?
My point is I think that Sleepwell may be right in this one particular case. And Spindra is, of course, the lesser of two evils. Maybe we should go and figure out what the hell's going on with her right now, since, yeah. So maybe what we should do is split the party.
I don't think that's ever a good idea.
Seems like a great idea. Oh.
If you guys want to go check out Spindra, we can go check out Spindra.
Look, I'm not saying that we engage, but the threat is there. There's
Yeah.
also the threat of the space mafia.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Always. Yep, always the threat of the space mafia.
Look, I'm being completely serious here. You guys are going to, enact repairs. It's going to take some time. If we need to engage Spindra, we at least need to know what the situation is. I'm not saying we engage her directly. I'm saying that Petra and I go figure it out while you and Sleepwell see what you can do here.
I'm just worried that if something starts, you'll be missing 2 people. We can just all go together. It's fine.
I don't know. I think Petra's hammer is a pretty
I
third.
actually feel comfortable just backing Aramis up. I think the two of us together could probably handle a small scouting mission.
All right.
And that would be more efficient. You guys fix the engine.
Well, we
Please
still
fix
have.
the engine.
If we want to start, we need to get supplies off the Tangrel, which is very hard to do if we're dragging them through the cargo bay for everyone to look at.
Well, we should all work together to get the stuff over, I think. Don't you, Aramis?
Another worry is that if we undock, they might give us trouble if we try to redock after we're done. But maybe you guys will fix that by the time we're done. So, I guess we have a plan then?
I think so. Speedwell, how do you feel about this? Do you feel good about it?
It's sleep well. Thanks.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I keep doing that.
No. Sleep well. It's like, well, I haven't been with you all as long as you've been with each other, but I have been spending a lot of my time using my medical skills to get you up off the floor when we're in the middle of firefights. I have a feeling that Spindra is going to be prepared for us and ready to just drop all sorts of mayhem on us. I think for your own protection, you probably want me along.
Sleepo, we have a solution to that. Have you met my friend Zarina?
No, I don't think so.
Zarina, we left Zarina back on the Hyperlance, right?
Yes. She doesn't seem to be in the bridge right now. You're not sure where she is, but she's somewhere in the Hyperlance.
Gosh.
She was not necessarily
just turns like light blue.
What? Well, we're gonna need like a whole color code chart. Like, what does that mean? Blue equals slight disgust with mixed with a bit of intrigue and.
Who's Zarina?
Zarina can handle herself. I think we've got a fourth there. Petrus is the third, Zarina's the fourth. I think we're good, Sleepball.
Goodness.
All
Let's
right.
just let them do their thing, sleep well, I think.
All right. I'll try to fix the ship.
You can do it.
All right, so Sleepwell is going to stay behind. I have to say, my wife just saw the credit card charge. Is suspicious about me making a charge at the Forbidden Library. That's really funny. It's fine. This is a safe Forbidden Library. It's forbidden, but it's not forbidden for credit. The wheels of commerce continue. I actually didn't mention before that the reason we got started a little bit later, not for you folks, but at the beginning of the session, is I was getting back from the Tolkien exhibit at the Morgan Library here in New York. My daughter and I went to see it. First of all, it's great because it's Tolkien, so automatically I was going to love it. It was one of those things we were looking around, and it was meant to be because there was literally, we were going through the library, which is this awesome 3-floor library with all of J.P. Morgan's like rare books, and it's in the Eastern Wing. And of course, the Forbidden Library is the Eastern Wing of Hearthflow Academy's library that is like cordoned off because of it. So it was meant to be. But my daughter was like, so how did he get all these books? And I was like, so he was a philanthropist who got the philanthropy money by being a hard-nosed businessman that put people out of business and did terrible. It's like, it's that Andrew Carnegie, great charity guy, once he put a bunch of people out of business, like capitalism. It's amazing. Anyway, so Kaz and Sleepwell, and Kaz, you are assisting Sleepwell in the repair effort or not?
Correct.
Okay, so you two are going to go down to the engine. Meanwhile, Petra and Aramis are going to go off to look. I will come back to Kaz and Sleepwell. I want to start with Petra and Aramis. And Rona is going to stay on the ship because she needs to actually be checking engines with you and everything else. So it's going to be Petra, Aramis, and then Zarina, who kind of trails behind you looking confused and distant. She's been very distant for a long time now. You feel like she's not really, truly is not herself.
Oh, goodness.
So the question I have for you, Petra and Aramis, is where are you going to look? You said you wanted to go to some seedy bars, and there are a few possibilities that might meet that description. What types of places do you want to try? In case you're curious, by the way, there's 3 or 4 of these bars. The ones that are fairly decent size that people know of as bars, roughly speaking, you have one that is upscale, which basically means it would be a complete dive at Peltiveria, but for Pelsaros, it's, the second would be close to like Mos Eisley Canteen, Wretched Hive of Scum and Villainy. And then the third one is doesn't even have like an official storefront. It's one of those, basically a speakeasy or the equivalent of it, where you have to know a guy who knows a guy, and they're able to kind of get you into this place. Clearly the seediest, also clearly the hardest to get into, and then you have the other ones that I just mentioned.
I have a logical thought about how we should pick this, and I will address Aramis and say, this is what we should do. Go for the least dangerous one. We'll pick people's minds. We'll kind of ask questions around. But if we go to the really dangerous ones, those are the ones where she will have had plenty of opportunity to set up an ambush, and she'll be expecting us there. All we want is word of her. What do you think?
Petra, I'm going to be completely honest with you.
All right.
At this point, I'm expecting my life to end at any given moment.
Okay.
That kid is in charge of a big freaking mall.
It's an Alfred, and it is a malfunctioning one as far as I can tell, and I share these concerns. But wouldn't you rather go out in a decent bar rather than a seedy bar that smells like space pee?
I am not interested in the smell of urine in my establishment I wish to drink at. My point is, I think the biggest risk is going to reap us the best reward, or the quickest approach to her. But I agree with you that getting a sense of what's going on the surface before we dig deep is the right thing to do.
So we start at one bar and we move to another bar.
So I'm going to follow your lead. You've got the hammer.
All
Zarina
right.
and I are your flanking sort of, camaraderie. We're your folk. So
So we will go to the upper tier bar, sidle in, sit where we can listen to a lot of the bar chatter, get a drink, and see what happens.
All right. The name of this bar, by the way, is the Metal Bridge. It's not really clear why or how that name was actually developed, but as I said, this is as close to upscale as Pelseros gets, which means that when you walk in, the smell of urine is not immediately apparent. There are a set of tables that are in the middle of this place, and there's actually even a bouncer who, when you first walk in, who's hold on a second, as I lost completely what I was looking at. Right. Who is actually a very large Matakai, who, of course, this big sort of lizard-like creature. And as you come in, you can see sort of holds his ground. He has gray scales and that are flecked with red, and he kind of looks and says, "I need to make sure that you're confirmed to come in here. You need credit sticks. Minimum 200 cubal."
Do we have money? Do we have credit?
You may have on your character sheets, and I don't remember, you may have a certain amount of cubal that's listed there. Let me take a look and see. I'm looking to see if you have...
My character sheet is blank in
Yeah, I
this
see
regard.
that. Let's see.
Remember, she is a thrifty soul. Probably has all sorts of money stashed away.
Oh, yes. I would say that it's... Okay, there we go. I was like, what is taking so long to pop this up? Yeah, I would say that you probably have enough between the two of you. It's not 200 per. You just need to have 200 cubal total. And I think between the two of you, you probably have enough to make that happen. So if you hand the bouncer your cred stick, then he will take it and he will put it into a small little podium near where he's standing. And it sort of lights up and glows. And then he hands it back and he says, "You use your tab against this. When you leave here, it's deducted from that amount. If you go over, you pay extra or you get thrown in the brig. Have a good day." And kind of, turns away to look back at the door again. So now you're able to look around, and as I said, there are tables, and there's also a curved, sort of U-shaped bar on the far end of the room, sort of the other room from where you are, where there is a Volna who's actually behind it, polishing what looks like some kind of plasticsteel mug.
We are all going to sidle up to the bar, order drinks. Is there any way of tipping? Because my intent was to tip lavishly.
Yes, you can definitely say that you want to tip, basically there's a card there, little, almost like a touchpad, really, that you can tap a couple of times, and every time you tap it, it will tip like 2 cubal. So basically, you tap a couple times, it's 6 cubal, whatever, and that gets taken from your overall amount that you gave to the guy at the beginning when you walked in.
So we tip nicely. I mean, not hugely, but
I was gonna say
enough
tap,
to
tap,
make.
tap, tap.
No, but enough to, how like a bartender will, sometimes you tip well and then they take good care of you.
Right, and you do that, and the Volna kind of nods and says, "Thanks, I appreciate that. What can I get you?"
I will order whatever the local specialty is. Turn expectantly to my companions.
So he pours out a glass of what is called Star Mint Brew, and moves it across the table to you, and he's like, "We just got this in last cycle. Very popular with the locals here."
Lovely.
And he hands glasses to both you and Aramis, and then Zarina, who stares at it blankly. As you are sort of standing looking, again, the bartender goes back to just kind of polishing the mug that he was doing before. Not a lot of people in here at this time of day, by the way. Probably maybe 3 or 4 people sort of spread out between some of the tables. But the word is that when this place gets hopping at night, usually later on when the work cycle is completed, it usually gets pretty crowded.
I want to turn to the bartender and say, hey, a friend of mine was saying there was our ship's kind of limping a little, and I was wondering, somebody was saying there was a real good mechanic around here.
And he nods and he's like, "There's a couple of good mechanics. Problem is, the ones that are good will charge too much, and the ones that don't charge are terrible."
That's a bummer. Yeah, that's always the way of it, isn't it?
I mean, if you got plenty of cubal and money's no object, then there's definitely someone you could try. There's a Canastadin is his name. He's actually a Kesh, and kind of well, he's not the most personable one you've ever met, but he definitely knows his way around ships. Problem is, he's expensive.
He's expensive. And you said there's some other options?
He says, well, then there's a bunch of people who would claim that they're good. I know one Promethean who says that she's the best there's ever been. But frankly, having seen some of her work, and he kind of shrugs a little bit and he says, and then there's Spindra. But, well, Spindra, we haven't seen a lot of Spindra as of late. So I don't know whether you'd even be able to track her down.
I'm trying to think if that's the name that my friend mentioned or not, because that sounds vaguely familiar.
Well, if it's vaguely familiar, it's not going to be too much around this station. Word is that she got back here in a big hurry, ended up talking with some of the people that were the higher-ups, the authorities, and hasn't been heard from since. I don't know whether that means she just got the frell off this station before things got hot, or if she's now working for them, or if she's been thrown in the brig, but whatever the answer, she's not operational anymore as a mechanic.
Well, probably wouldn't have done good work for us anyway. Hey, give me the contact information for that first mechanic you mentioned, if you would.
He says, sure, Thanastotle. And that's, by the way, Thannis, and then Stottle, Thanastotle. And he says, yeah, all right, you can actually find him if you were to go back to the space dock. There's a couple of districts right outside of it, and there's one row in particular that's got a bunch of stores there. Well, one of them's got a big gear and a spaceship flying above it on the sign. You can't miss it. He's usually pretty booked, but like I said, if you got enough cubal, he can make time for you.
Good to know. All right, thank you. I will turn back to my companions and just sort of raise an eyebrow as though to say, well... I will do that more towards Aramis than to the blank-faced Zarina.
Yeah, Zarina's like, seems to not notice.
Say good Starmint Dew, was it? Starmint
Brew, actually. Starmint Brew. And it is actually not that bad. It's got this faint hint of, it's sort of like if you had Guinness, but with spearmint. It's a little bit like that.
Sounds great.
Aramis looks at Petra.
Sounds like I don't have the faintest idea what that would taste like.
Aramis looks at Petra, kind of nods, and then as we're starting to get up, he stops for a second and he looks at the bartender and he says, got a different question for you real quick. If I wanted to find out what kind of legal entanglements somebody was involved in, and I wanted to do it without anybody actually kind of finding out, who would I talk to?
And he grins and he says, well, it wouldn't be here. If you want to find out the legal status of anyone, you go down to the other bar. And he kind of smirks at you, and he says, you go down to here, this side of the merchant district, and he basically shows, he kind of pushes across this small little, what looks like a tablet, like some kind of mini comp tablet, and there's a little map on it, and he basically points to this one area that you definitely have not been on Pelseros, but it's not that far actually from where you encountered Spindra, so pretty seedy area of the already seedy Pelseros. And he's like, so you have to go down there. You're going to go 3 houses in. And you're going to see there's one place in particular stands out like a sore thumb. All the other places on that whole area are run down, squat, blinds falling apart, the whole business. Except this one, made of all fresh new plastisteel, all fresh new titanium metal, completely stands out. They claim that it's a new security station, but the truth is, it's the best new place, and he kind of looks around, not counting mine, of course, that you're going to find. Go in there and talk to the owner of that place, and you'll see what you see. It's a Promethean.
Is this the kind of place I need an introduction to, or can I just walk in the door?
Oh, I think you can walk in the door. You'll just need to have to think quickly after that when they want to know what you're doing there. Normally, they like to shoot first and ask questions later. But if you're a fast talker, they all appreciate that.
I tip him again. Say thank you. Look over to Petra. Yeah, we're done.
Alrighty.
And he
We
says,
will-
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
He's going to say, the person you're looking for, by the way, the owner of this place, is Canero Praxis. But you didn't hear that from me. So Canero is Caneiro, Canero, and then Praxis, like Praxis.
Okay.
All right, as you folks prepare to depart the bar, we are going to jump back to Sleeple and Kaz, who are working on the engine. All right, I want to know from you folks what you're doing to fix it, other than just, banging away with a hammer. Like, what exactly are you doing to try to, and also, how are you going to try to get stuff over from the Tangrel?
Well, it looks like we need to get supplies, right, Sleepwell?
Yeah, I mean, you were thinking we were going to have to shoot into orbit or something to be able to, put the bridge connection, but maybe we can just make a connection between the 2 ships.
Yeah.
Like, what if we just sort of like ran the walkway through the 2?
Yeah, I think that would involve undocking, though, right?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Like, those gangplanks can be pretty long.
Oh, just we get them in the same dock?
Yeah,
You mean?
exactly.
Okay. Maybe let's go try to talk to a representative about that then.
We'll do. So yeah, we'll kind of just walk down and see who we can talk to about that.
Okay. So you walk out now. You're looking. Okay, but you're looking specifically for someone to answer which question? Like what?
If we can have both of our ships docked in the same dock next
Got
to
it.
each other.
So probably the person that you'd want to speak to would be the what is sort of ambitiously called the harbor master. In reality, the harbor master is basically just this small office. And as you walk in, you can actually see there is a human, a very large human, who is leaning back at his desk. And when you first walk in, you're not really sure what you're looking at because you hear this sound of... You hear that from outside the door.
Okay, so probably sleeping. Just knock.
no response whatsoever. It's open, but
Wait, so we're looking in like the control center of the docks?
basically
right
the
now?
harbor master. Yeah, it's the office that you were directed to. That,
And he's sleeping.
well, you don't know. I mean, all you hear right now is this
Oh, like we're standing like right in front of
Outside.
the room though.
outside
Okay.
the door.
And
Yeah,
we
it's opaque, so you cannot see through it.
Oh, okay.
So we knocked, no response. Is there a button to open it?
There is.
We press the button, or I press the button.
So when the door opens, you see this very, very large human being who has this gray stubble on his face, what presumably should have been a beard, greasy gray-white hair, not particularly in shape, if you follow what I mean. And he is leaning behind, right now, he's leaning back in his chair like this.
Well, sleep well. What do you think?
Oh,
No, please, Arv, keep doing that.
Oh, yes, okay.
Helps with my immersion. Thank you.
you know, so I I turned to Cons and say, it's actually pretty dangerous to wake someone out of a solid sleep. So let's see if we can do this pretty gently. And so I start
I
singing.
feel like we're gonna regret this, but I'll follow you.
I start singing a Valna lullaby to try to rouse the sleeping man awake, you know, and it basically just goes like this: meow 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 meow.
That's the national
good stuff.
Valnight.
Right.
Yes. And he just morning, I had the day off.
No, dude, you're at work. Good morning. Hello. Very
And
friendly.
he's sort of like half in he doesn't seem to be really waking up yet.
Hmm.
That's interesting. It's like, he's you know, but he's coming around. So like, you know, just so, you know, kids sort of keep talking and just like, hey, hello, how's it going? You know, I'll wake up now. You know, but not really raising tone or accelerating or anything.
So you notice also, by the way, that there's a bunch of like papers, and you may remember that Spindra's desk was pretty covered, but that was with mechanical things. This is covered with a bunch of like what look like papers, which is a little weird because, you know, we have these amazing things in the future called computers, and like why you would need, but there's like old school like white sheets of apparently some kind of flat substance that seems to have writing on it, that is sort of, and then a bunch of these tomes and books that are all sort of on the desk, kind of precariously perched, and his feet are up, just like between those two piles. They're just kind of like.
Beautiful rendition.
So you continue to do this singing.
I go up to him,
Okay.
and I you know, just a 7'9" glowing Bellare creature stooping down to right next to his face, and I kind of whisper somehow, and I say, hey, would you mind if we just redock our ship in this dock?
It's like, oh! And like so at this point he looks up and he sees me, like his arm flies out. I need you to make a dexterity saving throw for me.
Oh
please, guys.
gosh. Second roll of the night, guys. Here we go. Dexterity saving throw to save from a big dock master slapping me in the
From
face.
a big judo chop to the chest.
Okay. +4.
Wow.
Hey, I've only
Holy
rolled nat
crap.
20s the whole game
What
today.
is going on? Oh my goodness. Okay,
I
now
hacked
roll
roll
for
20.
poison as the spike pounds it. No, I'm just kidding.
What?
Wow. So you like dodge out of the way, and he's like, "Whoa!" So because he misses you wildly because of your nimble dodge, his arm flails around, and his chair literally spins in place and bangs into the desk, and just papers cascade everywhere, like books hit him, and like, and then kind of like pulls himself. Oh, what, Frog? What? Who are you? What is this? Well, what? And like he looks like just you could see there's like drool, like dried drool down the side of his mouth, and like yeah, he has a uniform, which is not really doing
I
the
could
job.
hear the quotes there. That was great.
That
Yeah.
that uniform may have been functional back when uniforms were first created. They definitely, yeah, seems like it's been a while. He may also not have changed out of it for several millennia.
Right.
Anyway, he so he's just kind of like, what are you? What's going on? And he's like scrambling. Papers continue to fly everywhere.
So I go, hi, you're the harbor master, right, sir? We have a very special request for you.
All right. Well, yeah. What? What do you want? What?
We just want to move one ship closer to another of our ships so we can easily move cargo between them. How's that sound?
And he
Good,
says, "Is this a smuggling ship?"
No, we're not smugglers. We already were cleared. Everybody's been aboard our ship. We're all clear. All we want to do is just like move cargo over. That's what we do, you know? We just ship things around. We're merchants.
And he says, "All right, I just had to find the cargo manifest. What's the name? Ship name?" And he like starts like sorting through papers, like looking through. You see papers on the here. By the way, a lot of these papers are stained, and you see papers on here, Sleepwell, that like have like very faded. Now, it looks like you think they might have called it ink. Like this is a very old school mechanism at this point, and you see it's kind of faded. You have literally never ever seen anyone using a system like this. Like if this is a system in quotes.
Yeah, so I'm fascinated by this ancient technology, and just kind of like looking over his shoulder, sort of like, how do you even keep this organized? Like,
I have my own system. What's the name of the ship? Ship name?
so we just docked the Tangrel.
This is the Tangrel. Tangrel. And you kind of see like, actually make an insight check for me, Sleepwell.
Okay. Sorry, 1 second.
Maybe you should have cause natural 20 Moritis.
Yeah, seriously, right?
Natural 20 moritis. That sounds like a disease that everyone.
Cause natural 20 Moritis.
Every GM's fear.
It's a 10.
Okay. He just, when you said Tangrel, he kind of was like pauses and then just goes back to what he's doing. And he's like, Tangrel, something here, like,
They cleared us.
they just, and he kind of looks, he's like, I don't have the manifest. Did you just came in?
Yeah, just came in.
Probably hasn't gotten here yet. Just give me a second. And he like pushes a bunch of papers out of the way to reveal an ancient-looking intercom, and thumbs it on. And there's this terrible feedback, you know. And then he's like, "Security, 5-6 Harbor Office." And there's sort of a pause, and then someone, "Harbor, this is Security 5-6." He's like, "Yeah, did you see a ship, the Tango, what is it called?" He looks up
Yeah,
at you guys.
Tangrel.
Yeah, the Tangrel. And again, he kind of hesitates as he says that. He's like, the Tangrel. And there's a pause, and then Security 5-6 affirmative. Tangrel was cleared for entry. And he says, all right, thanks. So, and then he thumbs the intercom off. All right, it looks like you're fine with that. What was the other ship?
No,
Oh,
just
Oh, go ahead, Kaz.
this one right here. Did we like have to move to a different dock, or are we still like right in front of the hyperlines right now?
You had to move to a different dock. You're not like way far away, but it's in another spot. Actually, close to the entrance to the space dock, which is not dissimilar from actually where the equivalent of the harbor master was in Peltiveria. You may remember that was also the office for that was kind of outside the main dock. So that's sort of what this is. It's like right near the edge of the dock, basically. So it's not right next to the hyperlines.
Do we know what dock number we're in?
Yeah, you were in dock number 3.
Our other ship is in dock number 3.
Dock number 3, and he starts like sorting through things, like moving around papers. It's the Cormorant, I think, right?
Yeah, that's it.
And he sort of says, all right, well, 4 is open. I guess you can move over to 4, but there's a dock transfer fee.
How much would that be?
300 cubal, a lot of paperwork. And he kind of like gestures to all the papers on his desk.
I can see that. And I say,
I just saw that, Erdenel. It's a soda can with a string running to the harbor. That's all.
okay, I dig into 300 of my own cubal and hand it over.
Okay. So you do that, and he sort of processes it and goes through and says, all right, you can move it over whenever you want. Just make sure you do it sometime in the next cycle or so, or it's first come, first serve on these docks after a certain point.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
That's fine. Just, how would I say? And he sort of originally, starts to fall asleep again as you see him gradually sink back in his chair, papers sort of settling in over his rather large gut. And you can now depart if you wish. Are you going to move the Tangrel now to dock 4?
Yep.
Okay. So you're able to do that with no trouble, and because it's a lot closer to dock 3, there's basically just a small little space. There is, you can't completely connect with each other, but it's only a small space where you're exposed to the outside world, basically. So.
Okay, and I say, well, that's about as good as we're going to get. Let's just start transporting materials.
Exactly.
All right, as you folks start transferring materials, I'm going to jump back to Aramis and Petra, who at this point we're going to the speakeasy. Is that right or not? Where were you going to?
Do we need to, Aramis?
Oh,
Yeah, wherever you were going.
he did happen to say, when I asked him the question, that the person to ask about the current status of Spender was down that way. We can go that way.
I'm up for it. I'm just pointing out. So he told us that she'd basically vanished, and with the implication that she might have been abducted by the authorities or something like that. But at the same time, someone set up that trouble to meet us at the docks. So was it her, or was it another party? And if it was her, then we can't trust anything that he said. I don't know. I'm wary. I'm worried about a trap.
I'm in complete agreement with you, which is why I think we spring it.
Fair enough. Okay. As long as we're going into it with open eyes.
My expectation is that we're going to walk into this place, and either they are going to take us prisoner and demand things from Sleepwell and Kaz, or they are going to try to corral us into some sort of larger scheme and get us to betray Sleepwell or Kaz. Because if Spender came back talking about information about what was on that ship, and she has any other idea what's actually going on with the Hyperlance, she's probably already made a deal with somebody to either get us killed or get us working for them so that they get ultimately what we have.
So what I'm hearing is that we might as well go have another drink.
Basically.
Sounds good.
Great. I'm so glad you're into this. And he puts one arm around her and another arm around Trina, and he just walks them to the speakeasy.
All right. We are headed there.
So the speakeasy, as they told you, there is in fact very almost impossible to miss. There is this area which is absolutely seedy beyond belief. As you are going down this area, basically there's a spot where there's a lot of kind of the floral lights above are sort of flickering as you're walking along. You can see a lot of tipped over what looks like recycle bins that would normally, in the far future, you just toss things in there and they're sort of instant incinerated. These things have stuff piling out of them as if the incinerators don't work. and the matter vaporizers are not functional. As you're walking along, there are a few people that stumble by, a couple of Kesh sort of singing something. There's a Matakai and a Valna that are kind of, talking to each other. You see another Denduzi who's kind of like, space when I found her around my life. And he kind of slap each other on the back. They are very 6 sheets to the wind, like a million sheets to the wind, as they kind of stumble past you. So you hear all of this, and yet in the middle of the street as you're walking down is this one very tall looking, probably 3 stories when everything else here is like 1 story, tall looking metallic building that's almost gleaming in the kind of mired filth and stuff like that that's around it. And that was indeed where the bartender had told you to seek out this guy.
So, Aramis, I have a question. You've got some sort of thing to say quickly when we get in there, right?
Yeah, sure. I got this.
Oh,
What's
okay.
this girl's name again that we were looking for? It was a girl, right?
Yes. Oh, this is gonna be interesting. All right.
No, not Spindrift. Who am I? I'm supposed to ask for somebody. Corona.
Oh, Corona Praxis.
Right. Corona Praxis.
Corona Praxis. But we don't ever want to get a point where we agree to pay Corona Praxis money, because apparently they're very expensive. So make no promises.
Petra, I'm broke. So are
I
you.
know. Yes, that's why we don't make any promises to the infamous Corona Praxis.
You
I do
got it.
like your name. All right.
When you come up, assuming you go to the, glowing metal out of place thing, you can see there is a masked security guard standing outside, again looking totally out of place, like much fancier uniform, all that, holding a laser rifle down to the ground at rest, and as you come close you hear, halt, citizen, what can we do for you?
I'm here to see Corona Praxis.
And he there's sort of a pause, and then, you have an appointment?
No.
He goes, good, no one has an appointment. And he walks back to the door, and then he knocks 3 times and pauses, and then knocks twice. And there's a moment, and then the door slides open. And he says, before you go in there, I'm going to have to ask you to leave weapons with me. They'll be returned when you depart.
Listen, buddy. I don't know if this is gonna really be too forward, but a hammer's not a weapon.
He kind of raises
actually
an eyebrow, looking at the size of the hammer, and like looking up and down at the hammer and Petra.
It's a religious symbol.
Yeah, she's has the smite of her deity all sort of, Ashen Forged, we don't really have our own anything. I mean,
We have to make our own.
it's a relic of her past. Just, she doesn't want to part with it. I mean, honestly, can you give her a pass this time?
And
I promise. Listen, I promise. Nothing is gonna happen.
I'm going to ask you to make a persuasion check for me at -3, please.
Really?
Can I assist him by just sort of looking
Religious.
innocent and religious and
Looking at everyone.
non-harmed?
Is the answer to that.
You're at it.
How about a
Wow,
21?
what is going on with the crits today?
Goodness.
This whole thing is hacked. Johnny went in
Looks
beforehand.
like-
He's like, haha! Good God!
That is
Hack.
awesome.
That,
Tell
so,
me, buddy.
I want to be clear. We've had 4 rolls tonight. 3 out of the 4 were criticals. Good God! Is this your doing, Dragon? Oh my God! All right, so he's like, there's a pause, and then he's like, you hear the sigh through the mask vocoder, and then, All right, you can take the hammer. If you have any laser pistols, you got to leave them with me.
Oh yeah, no problem. Serena, seriously. I mean, and I take my one laser pistol and I just place it on there. I pull my, anything else I've got, I place it on there. Serena does the exact same thing. Thank you. Look, listen, I promise. It's got a name. She talks to it all the time. If we left it behind, we'd get halfway across the galaxy and then we'd have to turn back around because she wouldn't be able to go to sleep. All right, thanks. Seriously.
And he doesn't say anything, just, all right, move on in. So when you come in with this hammer, which totally made sense that you would have your religious symbol, the door closes behind you, and the two of you the three of you, excuse me, find yourself in this hallway that's lit with just this faint blue light. And then the light changes to orange and back to blue, and there's this as if there's something going on, and both of you feel kind of almost like there's a slight, like your hair rises a little bit, or in your case you feel some like almost as if tendrils of something are reaching over your skin. Feels almost like an energy output, is like static electricity really is kind of flowing all over your skin. This goes on for maybe 5 to 10 seconds and then stops, and then the other door, the opposite door in the passageway, opens, and you walk in to see this speakeasy. Now this speakeasy is a couple things. It is very dim, and it is very small. There's only about 3 that you can see areas in this speakeasy. The door that you just walked through leads to a set of stairs that goes down into the main area, which is not very big. The main area that's got a little bar there. And then there are several tables that are set in the other 2 areas. And when you walk in, you notice that unlike the other bars where you were, there is no music here, and everyone just stops and like turns to look at you. There's just dead silence.
Is there an RVS bartender?
There is a bar space, a place where you look like there's a bar. There's a couple people behind it, but it's actually right at the area where you are. Like when you first walk in, that's the largest area, such as it is, and there's what looks like a small bar there.
Look over at Spindra. I'm sorry, look over at Petra. Come on.
Spindra's like, hi. Welcome.
Found you.
That was easy.
Good to see you. Okay, so you look over. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, Hermes.
So walk up to the bar. And I kind of look behind, see what kind of bottles they have behind the bar.
Okay. And there's actually 2 people back there. One of them is an Eldori, and the other one, if you had to guess, was a human, maybe a Promethean. And both female, apparently. And when you walk up, they're actually in the midst of doing something behind them. Looks like they're trying to fix one of the taps, maybe. But you can see that there is a small group of drinks, but some of these are pretty distant. There's Death Nova Brew, which is sitting there, and you've heard rumors about Death Nova Brew. It's a place that actually has been banned in a lot of parts of the galaxy because of it's like 700 proof type alcohol that is just like pretty much burns your throat as you're drinking it. But that's where you go direct if you're looking for going right to the source. So they have Death Nova Brew. They have a couple of other ones as well. Thank you for the raid, Shattermage. What's up, man? Good to see you. So they have those. They also have a couple of other smaller drinks. There is what looks like a Starmint Brew as well. And then there is the bottle just is marked on it, like something is scribbled on it, which says special. And it doesn't have a name. It just has special, like almost not in crayon, but like just scribbled on basically on this label. Thank you for the raid, everybody. Welcome, Shadow.
What's that there? That's got that scribble that says special.
And one of the Eldori turns around, and as you sort of see her turn around, you can see that she has the blue skin of most Eldori, but she has an eye patch covering her left eye. And she turns around, you can see that, and she's got a scar on that side with the eye patch also. And she says, that's something that people don't drink if they have to ask what it is.
No. Thought I'd, see what's so special about being special.
And she kind of goes, ugh, and turns around, kind of grunts. The other one turns around, also with the blue skin, short hair, no eye patch or scar on this other one though, and says, sorry, you'll have to pardon her. She's just having a rough time getting these taps working. The special is, it's a little bit of our home brew, you might say. Very good, mostly because we don't have to worry about problematic regulations getting in the way,
So, engine degreaser.
And she says, that's not even look, that's an unfortunate way to refer to, but I guess, yeah, like you could, maybe.
Please. I would love an opportunity to taste that.
So she pulls out a glass and she pours some of this stuff. And as the stuff goes in, you hear gloop, 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 as it's sort of pouring. It's not thin, this stuff. And she sort of hands it over to you, passes it over to you. And she says, go ahead and take a taste. I won't even charge you for that one.
Picks it up, kind of sniffs it for a second.
It smells kind of like... So, I think that the worst food smell that exists is rotting pasta. I don't think there's a worse smell that exists than that. And this smells like rotting pasta.
Clearly, there are some things that you still have not eaten yet. There, sir.
Right.
I'll tell you though, rotting pasta is bad.
He kind of sounds like a punk rock band.
Rotting pasta. Our first song is Cavatelli.
So Aramis kind of sniffs it, looks over at Petra and Zarina and says, kind of reminds me of the stuff that Leo served, and just shoots it.
Okay. So first of all, it takes you a while to shoot it because this is it's like drinking honey, rotting pasta smelling honey. So it goes down and there's a moment where you're like, because it's kind of like, you feel like it's blocking your throat maybe. And so you drink it. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw for me, please. Must have opened for Rancid. You said it, Chatter.
Yeah, how about a 4?
Aha! Finally a crit fail. So Aramis, there was you remember having several stages where you don't remember obviously your own creation, but you've always wondered a little bit, like, I wonder what it'd be like if I just was there at the moment. And so as the room swims around you, as you see sort of Petra looking at you, you wonder how all of a sudden there's 3 Petras. Like it's Petra is now apparently in 3 different places. And your stomach is rumbling and not in a good way. And you kind of fall to one knee with your hand sort of gripping the bar, and you have just time to say, I think, and then like just fall backwards, completely out.
Wow.
I'm going to step over Aramis and say I would like a Star Mint brew.
And so the bartender says, that's a safer choice, and pours the Starmint brew, hands it over to you. It does smell very much like the Starmint brew you had before. And she says, don't worry about your friend, by the way. He should be back to normal in about 8 hours.
All right, so we will drag Aramis into a corner for a little while and hang out listening to the gossip. And resisting the urge to do various things while he's unconscious because, like, paint him.
That would
or
be just wrong. Yeah.
It would be so wrong. We will
Um,
discuss this at detail, and then at some point we will, after an hour, leave.
Okay. Are you going to try to? So you're trying to pick up gossip. Are you, as you're listening, are you listening in for anything in particular, like, or just sort of general bar gossip?
I'm listening for any mention of Spindra. I'm listening for any mention of the creatures whose name I should remember, but has now fled my mind. The deadly scissor hands ones.
Scourge Kanasi.
That's it, the Scourge Kanasi. And I'm interested just mainly on any new ships, like ship activity, people that have come or gone unexpectedly or suddenly.
Okay, make a perception check for me. Let's see how much of this you pick up. Yeah, the Scourge Cavatelli. Attacks you with rotting pasta.
A 19?
Okay. So as you are listening, you don't hear anything about Spindra, but you do hear people talking about what are supposedly renovations to the space dock that are going to be happening, and apparently there's a lot of discussion back and forth about this. From what you can glean, there's been apparently a proposal to expand and modernize the dock. And a lot of people want that because it'll make getting into and out of Pelseros easier. And a lot of people don't want that because it'll make getting into and out of Pelseros easier. And so there's a big dispute right now. It is the, if you will, Brexit of Pelseros right now about whether to build this dock or not. And there's discussion back and forth. But one thing that you do hear, which is a name that you recognize, is the name, oh God, now I can't find my note. Carreros? What did I tell you his name was? Praxis, what was his first name?
Canero.
Canero, that's it. Yeah, thank you. Got to make sure I mark that down. Canero Praxis. Let me do that. Canero. Okay.
I like to write these notes.
Yeah, I want to make sure I get that down. Okay, so Canero Praxis, you hear that name come up a few times with people talking to each other, and what you can pick up is a lot of people basically are like, well, who knows what's going to happen, but when Canero finds out, or that depends on what Canero says about it, or, the truth is we don't know anything until Canero tells us. You get a lot of impression that Canero seems to be not just an information broker, but maybe has some authority thereby. Like, a lot of people seem to be talking about this is the mover and shaker. So you hear a lot of his name being bandied about. And again, I mentioned this thing about the dock expansion, but you don't hear anything about Spindra or about new ships arriving per se.
And do we see anyone that seems to be Canero?
You see a couple of Kesh, but you don't look like any that are, they're not wearing name badges, obviously, but you don't see, there's one who's just like at a table, seems to be talking with someone else. There's another one who is sort of just like kind of leaning against the door, and you sort of wonder about that, and then you see that they actually leave, sort of stumbling out as if they're a little bit drunk. So you don't have a lot to go on finding this person yourself, although you could theoretically ask, of course.
I'm going to go to one of the bar women, the one that served Aramis the deadly drink.
Aramis, who continues to be completely dead out. No dreams at all. Just,
I kind of eye him and look at her, and we both sort of roll our eyes, and I reach over and tap her pad a couple of times to tip her. And then I'm going to say, hey, if I were looking to get an introduction to Canero Praxis, how would you suggest I went about that?
And she kind of stops and says, Canero Praxis kind of finds you, not the other way around. If you want to let him know that you're looking for him, we can do that, but yeah, it depends on who he chooses to see and not see. He doesn't much like people looking into his personal affairs.
I say fair enough, and I could totally appreciate that position. So if you might mention that Petrosinus would like to talk to him about various matters that I think concern both of us, I'd be interested in doing so.
And so she nods a couple of times and sort of slowly, as if sizing you up, and then turns and walks out from behind the bar and goes actually out into the passageway that, you know, the airlock, as it were, that kind of led into this place. And meanwhile, you notice, actually make a perception check for me, please, Petra.
Just looking to make sure I counted my plus in. 22.
Jesus, it's another critical.
Oh,
Wow. Unreal. That's fine. You realize next session everyone's just gonna be like crit fail. This is gonna happen.
Oh God.
It's all gonna even out eventually. You notice that the person with the eye patch is now very focused on you. Basically, ever since her compatriot left, the person with the eye patch has been almost staring at you, like while doing a little bit of extra work, like kind of half pretending to clean things, but it's clearly focused on what you're doing.
And I'm going to give her a bland smile that basically indicates I see you watching me. Hello.
And she just kind of, you know, blinks her one good eye, her one visible eye, and, you know, doesn't say anything but continues to kind of stare you down. And after a minute or two, a cycle or two pass, there is the door to the speakeasy opens again. And the other bartender comes in and sort of walks to, without looking at you, goes over to the bar and talks to the woman with the eye patch. And the woman with the eye patch nods and then turns and presses something under the counter. And then she and the other person departs. They actually leave in a door out of the room. And you notice all of a sudden that the other patrons all stand up. And all of them, you can see now, are all packing heat. All of them have got weapons of some kind or another. So there's a good 7 or 8 laser rifles now trained on you. And there is a sort of long, uncomfortable pause. And then you hear the door slide open again. And coming through is the security guard that was at the front. And the security guard said, "I heard a rumor that the religious person wanted to speak to someone." And he clicks a button on his mask and reveals the face of a Kesh. And he says, "All right, if you're finding religion, I'll do it with you. I'm Canero Praxis. What the frell are you doing in my bar?" And that's where we're going to bring this session to a stop.
Dun, dun, dun.
I love too because you're like, "Oh God damn it!" Like, yeah, that time has come.
Ooh.
Wow, what a yeah, exactly. I mean, knew it. Well, you know, we didn't because we only had a few rolls to do, and there was no combat this time. But that's all right. Some have more combat, some have less
We got a
combat,
lot
some have more
done.
other stuff. You did get a lot done, and of course, that was in the context of this super spectacular special night in a lot of ways that are not even related to Esper Genesis. So, so I will start as per usual. Exactly, Rala. Dun dun dun. I will start with the gentleman all the way to the right as you watch the screen, and that, of course, is Mr. Zach Clay. It was a pleasure to have you back in the saddle with Zach. Everyone does a good job having fun playing you, but only you can play you, really. So, so how'd you feel about tonight? And tell the people again about the 24-hour stream you're doing.
Okay. Yeah, it felt awesome to play again. At the moment, this is the only D&D that I'm doing aside from the club that I run for the middle school students. So, which, by the way, I just have to say very quickly, I had the most beautiful experience ever. There was this 6th grade, so I help run a D&D club at the middle school I used to go to. And there was this girl there who has always been a player, and she's never DM'd before. I think she's probably in 6th grade. She's super, super tiny, super short, just the cutest little thing. And she finally DM'd her own session, and apparently there's this video game online that's kind of like World of Warcraft, but it's all horses, and it's designed for girls that are like her age. It's called Star Stable, and like there's like a trailer for it, and it's like super high, like it looks really good.
Okay.
But it's basically like a girly horse version of World of Warcraft. Anyway, she took the lore from that game and took all of it down and basically developed a campaign based on off that game that she plays.
Oh.
And I was one of her players. I played under her, and it was the most wholesome, beautiful experience ever. I was just like, oh yes, give me a unicorn. I want it so bad.
Oh, I love it.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, I had a horse with like blue lightning. I was balling. It was great.
Nice. That's
Um,
super awesome. That's cool.
Anyway,
So great.
so yeah, so this is some of the only D&D I get to play, and I thoroughly enjoy it, and I thoroughly enjoy the very, very friendly and calm dynamic between all of the characters. And I look forward to having more of our calm, peaceful tea time in the future. So yeah, I really, and we have the hyperlens back. I mean, we always had it, but now we're back on.
I realized actually when I looked at it, like, and this is nothing against the Tangirl drawing, but by design, how cool does the Hyperlance look? Just like comparatively, you're just like, oh man, like we're on the
It's
Enterprise
super
now.
cool. Yes, exactly.
It's pretty cool. So they
So,
will
yeah.
see you for the 24-hour stream. When does it
Yes,
start
so-
tomorrow? Or later today?
So right now for me in good old California, it's 9:30 p.m. So at 12 p.m. tomorrow, so noon tomorrow Pacific time, I'm going to be starting a 24-hour stream. There's several things that are surrounding its significance. One of which is it's the first time that I've returned to stream on my own channel in a couple months. The other main thing is that I'm fundraising for 826 Valencia, which is a after-school, kind of similar to what I do, an after-school writing program in San Francisco. It has a chapter down in LA that Critical Role likes to fund a lot, for example. But that I'm trying to fundraise for them as well. I'm also doing some giveaways. I'm giving out Steam gift cards every 4 hours of the 24-hour stream. So that's 6 Steam gift cards that are being given away. And all sorts of games. I'm also the whole time competing against the Tower of Dread. And you'll know what that is if you click in. But yeah, so I'm going to go for 24 hours tomorrow, starting 12 p.m. Pacific, playing all sorts of games, starting with Minecraft, text RPG, moving to WoW, probably some other games I haven't played, some shooters, some survival, some card games. So, and then ending at 12 p.m. noon on Sunday. So I hope to see you guys there, and I hope we can raise some money for 826.
Awesome. That's really cool. And yeah, that's a good cause, and that's really cool. We will try to do that. And as I say, we'll try to host you when we can, except for when I'm playing D&D with Infinity Beyond on this channel. But then,
Yeah.
like I said, people can multi-stream, and then we'll come back to you over that. But thank you, Zach. Of course, you'll also see Zach for our vocalists, and you will
Yes.
see him with the rest of these folks next week, because next Friday, I believe, is when we've got the next Esper Genesis session, if I've got that right. So we'll be able to see that at that time. Moving on. Did you just? Is it still say Captain Toad?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Because it says I have tabletop RPGs that it says playing. Oh no, the name says Captain Toad, but then it says day 23 of Esper Genesis. That's fine. But the game that the official category is under tabletop RPGs. So yeah, the title is the same because whatever. I thought it was fun. But thank you, Zach. Always a pleasure. Moving right along, Carlos, we got a chance to see the development of teen angst with an AI to back him up. Along with this, how'd you feel about today, and where will the fine folks see you here, there, and everywhere on the interwebs?
I'm taking it as my practice to always sort of check in with all the players and be like, everyone okay? Everyone all cool? No need to play the X card or anything because we're all cool, right? We're cool. I think it was tons of fun, just having this. I mean, Aramis is exactly right. It's just sort of you have this kid who thinks he knows more than he does and has a good heart, but doesn't understand the whole situation. And it is a ton of fun to lead an explosive Edward Scissorhands around. I can just tell you that. So I had a great time. So yeah, I think the dynamic is really good, and I mean, I'm a writer, and so whenever you're writing a story, it's the rising action that you want to keep going. So basically add an exploding killing machine to the fire. But, yeah,
it's a built-in rise and fall, I think.
Exactly. Yeah, it's part of TV tropes, right?
Yeah, sure.
So I am just going to be traveling a lot for the next couple of months, and so I'm going to be at Origins, thanks to you. I'm going to be going to Westerly, Rhode Island to do a school visit on Tuesday. And so, I'm feeling you, Zach. Like, I visited an elementary school for my book, and I hadn't been in an elementary school since I was in elementary
Yeah.
school. And they were just like the cutest little
Yes,
cutie
they
buttons, and they were just so nice. It was stunning. Like, I had a great time, and so looking forward to the visits that I'll be doing, and I'll just be running around a lot, and I'll be here next week.
Awesome. Thank you, Carlos. Great pleasure. And folks should check out Sal and Gabby Break the Universe if they haven't already. I have my autographed copy. Haha. Membership has its privileges. But you should check out his work. You will see Carlos and Kat both at Origins, which is very exciting. In fact, I'm going to try to talk to hopefully Johnny and Zach and, see about the possibility of trying to get him out to one of these things, because a universal all of us being there thing to stream would be pretty awesome. But either way, you'll see both of them, and Carlos and Kat will both have contributed by that point to the Forbidden Library thing, which some people might have talked about. So, but anyway, pleasure. Thank you, Carlos, so much as always. Moving right along, Kat, of course, really great chance to sort of see Petra stretch out a little bit, dealing with drunk friends. I like the idea that you just stepped over him. You're like, right, I will now move on. That was great. So I was enjoying that quite a bit. And of course, I'm super excited about your class, which you're going to be teaching on my channel starting next month, which is really cool. For those of you who missed this, Kat is going to be bringing her Rambo Academy for Wayward Writers to Twitch, or at least to my channel. Once a month, she'll be doing a 2-hour class. And we are very excited about this. And as I say, it is going to be one of the off Thursdays from Emberwind. Best guess is that it will be either the 9th or it will be the 23rd. It'll be one of those 2 days, but we have to confirm. And then after that, we'll have a more steady, whatever, first Tuesday or whatever it is, first Thursday, whatever it is of that month, but we'll work that out. But you definitely will not want to miss it, because if you like writing, Kat knows quite a bit about it and has some great things to do. And the first one's going to be on world building. So now that I've talked her up, Kat, how did you feel about today, and where will the fine folks see you next?
I think this may be one of my favorite sessions, although I'm still fond of the one where we tried to jump on the motorcycle, because that was
a blast.
Spectacularly bad. No, that was a lot of fun, and I think the dynamic of the characters is getting really interesting, and it's fun. I hope that Alfred doesn't explode, but we'll see what happens with that. If folks are at NorwestCon, please come see me. I've got plenty of panels and readings still left on Saturday and Sunday. And if you are at Crypticon in 2 weeks here in Seattle, I will be there actually running the writing track, which is kind of fun. Ooh. And 2 weeks after that is the Nebulas in Woodland Hills, California.
Very, very neat. Yeah, that's good stuff. Thank you. Very exciting. And again, I'm so happy that we arranged this class. I'm very excited for that. So thank you, Kat. Great stuff. And thank you also for, leaving behind the joys of NorwestCon to join us for this one. Thank you. That was really above and beyond. So thank you. I appreciate that very much. And last but certainly not least, of course, Johnny. It was great to have Johnny back and here the whole time. And it was, I don't know that I've seen that many face palms in one session. There was a lot going on there with Aramis, Johnny. How'd you feel about today, and where will the fine folks see you next?
I thought it was great. Carlos, don't ever feel like there's anything that you're going to offend me with, or you're going to go beyond, because buddy, you're doing great. It's a hell of a challenge to play against Sleepwell right now, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I think it's making for good story fodder. Fun folks will find me on my channel next week. I'll be in Zach's chat, probably hanging out most of the time, because I want to support the guy, because 24 hours is a hard freaking thing to do. So he's going to need lots of love and support. Yeah. But you can find me back on my channel on Monday.
Very cool. Thank you, sir. Always a pleasure. And again, I really am enjoying the dynamic of this group as well. I've really been enjoying not only doing a space opera campaign, but one that has been that everyone's sort of embraced so much. And I'm just frankly loving the idea of you walking through this seedy like place trying to get a ship fixed and into these crazy like speakeasy. I love it. It's been a lot of fun. So great work from all the players tonight. And again, thank you to all the players again for indulging me as I was going through this crazy countdown on the Kickstarter. But couldn't have gone any better. So thank you for being a part of that. Chat, can we get some love for our wonderful players, and we will see all of you wonderful folks next week. Thank you to Johnny, thank you to Kat, thank you to Carlos, thank you to Zach. Zach, good luck with the 24-hour stream, and I will talk to all of you wonderful people next week.
And thank you, Greg. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Congrats.
My pleasure, and thank you. Thank
See you guys.
See you.
Take care.
All right. Okay. That is going to do it for us for what was an incredibly eventful night. And man, I mean, like, so much wonderful stuff here with people that just really pulled it together. Not just the people who made this into not just the folks who themselves really kind of pushed this, people like Kilobyte and Echo, and so many people that pushed it. Ed Greenwood tweeting out these library stories. I can't wait to read these as well. But of course, all of you, the gift bombs, the sub bombs that we got from Snicer and from Curel, that was really wonderful. We got a bunch of resubs too, a bunch of Twitch Prime subs. So there was a bunch of stuff on the sub side that helped tonight. And then of course the Kickstarter itself. The final tally on this Kickstarter ended up being 1,002. Ended up being 1,002. Give me a second here. 1,002 backers, $27,000, $27,037. Absolutely incredible. Just amazing. And as I said, this is the first of several publishing projects I'm involved with. This could not have started out better. Like, what a lead off to the year. I'm also very, very happy for the Alligator Alley folks that worked so hard on this. As I said, in particular, thanks to the whole team, Brian, Rich, Chris, and Eric, but in particular, thanks to Brian, who I knew just put tons of work into this. Thank you, Brian, so much. And I could not be happier to see the excitement. Oh, thank you, Raul. I'm excited too. I could not be happier to be working with this group that puts out such high quality work and that really understand not just games, but writing. And that's not always a combination that works together. So that's awesome. And I'm could not be happier to be working with them. I'm really excited, folks. It's my first main kind of game product. I mean, as you know, I've done flavor text work for Ascension, and I've done work on video game writing and stuff like that. But in terms of this is my adventure and my name's on the front cover and all that kind of business, I've done writing for Emberwind as well. But in terms of like, this is all me as far as like the main adventure anyway, that's pretty cool that this is the one who's doing this. So thank you, Brian, again so much. And thank you to all of you, all of the wonderful backers who did this. 1,002, like that's just 1,002. That's crazy. So thank you. Such joy to be able to do this and to be with all of you. And again, thank you to all of the Twitch viewers and the readers. It was great. Later on today, tonight at 7 p.m., we will be returning to the land of Ravenloft as Dungeons & Dragons with Infinity and Beyond continues Curse of Strahd. I'm very excited for that. We will have, I don't know if we'll have a full crew, but it'll be close. It'll either be 5 or 6 players. And I'm very excited about that as we continue to move along with Curse of Strahd, which has been great as well. So I'm super excited about it. And it's, the D&D campaigns in general. I've really been enjoying Esper Genesis a lot, and I've talked about this before, that it's just really great to see the players just lean into it. And I felt the same way about the Curse of Strahd folks. I mean, all of them in different ways. My D&D with GOG group is so much fun. They just have such a good time that it's infectious. It just feels great. And the D&D with Infinity Beyond crew has been awesome. And the Esper Genesis crew has been amazing. And Adventures of Middle-earth, those folks have been absolutely stellar with the work that they've done. So just so many good campaign things going, and it's been awesome. So good night, Brian. Thank you very much for stopping by. But that's going to do it for me. We are going to do a raid. So if you stick around for the raid, you will be brought over through the magic of auto rating. And if you are not a sub, you're going to do this, which is the Arvanauts Have Landed, followed by Twitch raid, lowercase twitch, uppercase R, lowercase AID. If you are a sub, and there's many of you now, many more of you now, that is Arvany Hype, which is the Arvanauts Have Landed, followed by this, Arvany Hype, if you are a sub, and do that as soon as you get over there, and then you can head off to wherever you're going to go. But if you can do that first, that would be lovely, just to kind of get some more people and attention and all that stuff that we're doing. And let me actually see who we're going to be raiding today. Who are we going to raid today? Why isn't the Twitch page loading for me? There we go. Okay. Yeah, I think I know who we're going to raid. Okay. But that's going to do it for me. I want to thank everyone who made this an awesome stream. Don't forget about the ways to support the stream. If you haven't done so already, follow the channel. Please check out the YouTube with !ArvTube, the Discord with !ArvTord. Please, ArvCord. Please check out the Twitter with !ArvTweets. Please make sure to check out the website, arvaneleron.com, for podcasts of Curse of Strahd and the calendar of this and so on. !Arv Shop will get you over to my merchandise area where you can check out merchandise for Infinity and Beyond, but soon to be other stuff as well. He said to Kilobyte, we're looking, that'll be one of the other things before Kilobyte's got to do that's on his plate. !Arv Shop for that. And then !Arv Treon, that is the Patreon, which is really kind of the financial backbone of the channel. And the subsystem that so many of you use today. That is another thing you can do to support the channel as we get more emotes and things like that into the channel as well. So thank you, everybody. You folks are all great. I want to thank everyone who made this an awesome stream tonight. Thank you to my wonderful mods, Aridinel, Dragonspear, Kilobyte, Satobo, and Shattermage. Thank you all so much to everybody. Thank you for the raid, Shatter. Also, I want to give special thanks, although not a mod, to Echo Alpha X5, because Echo Alpha X5 really pushed and moved this. So thank you, Echo Alpha. I wanted to say that, even though I know he went to bed, but thank you. Thank you to my wonderful subs. Thank you to Dragonspear and Kilobyte. Thank you to Specchio and Aridinel. Thank you to Specchio. Thank you to Ballsteg, to Jagtress, Mrs. Dunsel, Ralasong, Rock God, Snicer Tenu. Thank you to Thyre. Thank you to Write Teach Play, of course. Thank you very much, Carlos. Great job tonight. Thank you as well to both Curel and also Snicer Tenu for the gift subs today. Thank you so much for those. I really appreciate it. That is awesome. Thank you to my regular viewers, another TT viewer, Apricot Droopfruit. Thank you to Commander Dunsel with a resub. Thank you for the resub, Commander Dunsel. 4 months. You are closing in on that coveted next quill, that coveted 6-month quill. Thank you very much, Dunsel, as always. Thank you to another TT viewer. Thank you to Apricot Droopfruit, Big Ben 2K, of course, Cat Rambo. Wonderful job again tonight, Cat. Thank you. So excited to have Cat teaching that class. It's going to be awesome. Thank you to Commander Root. Thank you to Critical Varieties, to Captoman. Thank you to Firesnake Aries for the raid and the host tonight. I appreciate Firesnake. Thank you to G-Guro. Thank you to King Jin, to Moobot, I guess. Thank you to Mr. Mano, No Name Namer, PKD Fan, Stay Hydrated Bot for always keeping me hydrated. Thank you to Tanarin. Thank you to Tade. Thank you to the Chursk. Not sure if I've seen you in here before, the Chursk. I hope you like what you saw and heard, and will follow and support through various ways I talked about if you can. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to V&K. Thank you to Video Store Cowboy for being awesome. Again, thanks so much, Johnny. Good to see you, and wonderful work tonight. Same thing to Zach Clay. Wonderful work out of Zach tonight as well. Go check out his 24-hour stream tomorrow. Thank you to Virgo Praz, and thank you to XX Sputs. And also thank you to Little Arv, my daughter, who was here, who let us off with some treasure Toad, with some Captain Toad treasure tracker, which I'd like to think set us up well for everything that was going to happen. So thanks to everyone. Thank you to all the backers of the Kickstarter. And thank you. I'm going to go now, put some things away, and then I'm going to go sleep. But this was awesome. So thank you all so much for making this a really special night. Thank you for the cheer as well, Rella. Thank you for the subs and the support. 1,002 backers. Just amazing. Thank you all so much to everyone who made this possible. And much love to all of you. You are the best viewers on Twitch, as I've said many times. And every time I say it, I mean it. That's it for me. Much love, and I will see all of you wonderful people soon. Until then, definitely be good to each other. Have a good night.
fresh and new, when it all seemed clear to you, when your aim was straight and true. Were your mind untroubled by the questions in the dark, content to play your part, open pathways to your heart? Were your life untainted by a host of broken dreams, when all your acts were queens, understood all that it means? Could you have understood the way your life was bound? Did you ever wonder how you got from there to now? Oh yes, life